Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Ready to Love. Yes, Ready to Love. I missed obviously this weekend because I was out and about, and I think I should be free this weekend. I believe I might miss it again. It might be on a Monday for next 2 weeks because I'll be in America. So it might be on a Monday for next 2 weeks. We do super panels because of the way that my schedule is going to set up because of obviously being in America for the next 2 weeks. But yes, this episode 2 was crazy. I'm telling you, it was mad. There were so many things happening. We got to see Tequilla and also our good sis, Janelle, go at it. We had Kira go at it. I say Kira. We had Kira, obviously, conversation with Janelle. We had also Red with Unique. We had who else was there? I didn't even go into my notes. There was quite a few people that was going on this episode, and so yeah, listen, crazy stuff that was happening on this episode, and there's a lot to discuss and a lot to talk about. So if you do me a favor, there's 170 of you guys in a room, and it's rising as well. People ask me to find. Okay, so basically, America, guys, just want to let you guys know. It's not a tour in America, okay, guys. I'm literally just in America, so I'm not touring. There's no show on or anything like that. Just sorry to make everyone feel that way. So I kept on saying I'm coming to America. There is no tour this particular year. It'll be next year. We'll put on a show. But this year it's literally just me coming to America. So yes, I'll be in ATL from the 24th to the 28th. I'll be in DC from the 28th to the 4th of August, and then from the 4th to the 9th, I'll be in Houston as well. So I'll put up on a community page as well. So if you are around in those cities, let me know, and we'll definitely link up as well and have a vibe as well. Okay. But listen, yeah, look, and I may do maybe we might do a private affair, a little private chit chat with ourselves. But yes, again, guys, if you do me a favor, like the live, share, and subscribe to the channel. Like it, share, subscribe to the channel as well. And we would love to have you guys with us as well. Okay, look, we're going to get into this conversation. I don't waste much time. I see Jay's in the background as well, so that's great. I'm sure some more will join us as we go along. I also put a link in the chat as well for you guys, because if you have something to say, this is a great time to have that conversation and for you to join the convo if you have some stuff to say about Ready to Love. Now, let's get into this as well. Yes, you guys are having 100 degrees, so I'm going to be naked in Houston for sure. Let's get into this conversation. Let's get into this conversation and talk about this, right? Look, I think my first thing I want to start off with, let me just go into my notes and let me pull out the notepad of what I see, because I said what I said. Okay. Here we go. Oh, boy, I don't know where my notes are. Where my notes there? I have no clue. Oh, there we go. Okay, because I was thinking to myself, where are my notes? There we go. So we've got a keep going on. Let's go into this. Okay. So ready to love, ready. All right, cool. Yes. So yes, I love this. Okay, cool. So first opening kind of scenes, I'll go kind of the chronological kind of order as well. I see Jay's in the background. Jay, you there, baby? I see your background, but I don't know if you're there, baby. Okay, so but yeah, no, I think the first thing I want to quickly just discuss, obviously, we had a few people obviously dating, having their own little things. One of the things was Marvin and Lee got a conversation going. He says he wants to be loved and knows what he likes. And Jessica said she can't perform tomfoolery. So Marvin obviously had a conversation with Lee, and I think Jessica also got involved. Jessica ruled herself out of the race with Marvin. I understand why. She wasn't feeling it, right? But Marvin had a conversation with Lee, and he said he just wants to be loved and knows what he likes. But it looked like both Lee and Jessica weren't necessarily convinced by Marvin, and because of course his particular job and what he does for a living, that wasn't working with the particular ladies, particularly Lee and Jessica. So they kind of bowed out of the race with with Marvin, which I totally understood, right? Then Unique and Marvin had a conversation again. This is round 2 from the previous episode. Unique and Marvin, she said he is dominant and confident, and I was like, sis, mm, dominant and confident, sis. Okay, there's some tomfoolery. Okay, Jesse, baby. All right. And so I was like, that's the tomfoolery there that I was seeing with that situation. I was like, okay, cool. And then he said that he thinks that she's got submissive energy and it's sexy to him. And the way I was looking at her body language was always giving, like a kid in a candy store or a kid who's been in front of like their crush almost. Like she was like, oh my God, like, you know, he thinks I'm submissive. Like, oh my God, like, and I was like, baby, if you don't pipe up and behave yourself, what's all this? You know, I was like, so it's so interesting to see her behave like that. Now, I'm not saying that she can't behave like that. I'm just saying to see her behave like that, you know, with Marvin. I was just like, baby, I need you to chill, B. Okay. All right, I need you to chill. Why you behaving like that? You know what I mean? Like you oh, baby, like you like me, like I'm submissive. It's like, oh, hey, unique. I need you to pep up. I need you to pep up. Okay. All right, stop that right there. Now, that doesn't mean that she doesn't like him. That doesn't mean that that she doesn't necessarily generally find him attractive. But I was just like, she's doing a lot. Okay, very much doing a lot. I see you, JR. I'll bring you on as well. I was like, if you're doing that much, we only a second episode in, you doing that much, but you want to talk about someone else who's got a thought job, but you happy to be out here with the freak leak. How you like that, daddy? Freak leak. If you like that, you don't mind liking that part when it comes to Marvin. But Red gonna have a situation where he's a DJ and he a thought. But Marvin's got a whole dungeon to himself, and you want to tell me that ain't a thought job? That isn't a thought job? But somebody's got a whole Dungeons and Dragon with red light districts going on, and you don't want to call that a thought job. But you want to call me spin a couple plates with a couple tracks. How you like that, daddy? Frequently. You want to call me a thought. That tells me that your radar is on E, blood. Yeah, your radar's on E. It's empty. Your radar is empty, baby. Okay, all right, yeah. I'm gonna need you to correct that ASAP, Ryoki. Okay, ASAP, Ryoki. All right, cool. And then we had Habiba and Tequilla had the conversation. Quantalamela, Quantalamela. I don't know why. When I hear Tequilla, that's what I think of. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So Habib and Tequila talking, and he said she meshes with him well. Let me tell you something. If Tequila gives Habib a chance, I don't want to hear her complain about he's a narcissist or something like that. Yeah, I don't want to hear about that. Yeah, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying I don't want to hear nothing of a conversation from Tequila. If you come out dating Habiba and then you say, "Oh, he's a narcissist," baby, he's self-absorbed now. What do you think he will be in a relationship? Just wanted to put that there. You know what I mean? He seems quite self-absorbed already now. What do you think gonna happen in a relationship? That's the question I'm kind of asking. So I'm putting that out there for you. I'm saying, hey, look, just saying that baby, don't come crying about it. Okay, yeah, we don't want to see it. And Okay, yeah, that part there. Okay, and then after that, Chris quickly had a conversation with Lee. Chris had a conversation with Lee, and then he was like, he spoke in Igbo language to Lee. He gave her a little something, something. He spoke in his language, and he also spoke a little bit as well about his upbringing, or at least his family environment, and how they expect him to have conformed, and the fact that he had to be in an arranged marriage almost, and he rejected the arranged marriage a little bit later on. And I thought, okay, cool. A little bit more background on Chris. I really like Chris. His energy is great. He's got a great smile. He's very handsome. Good physique. As well, and everything like that. I was like, okay, cool. So I thought, yeah, that's working for me. Go for it. Go for it, Lee. But I don't know. Again, it might be the height restrictions. I'm not sure, but he gave her the Igbo, and yeah, I wasn't sure if Lee was actually falling for it. but you know, it was good to see a little bit of their connection as well. Mari and Jessica, quickly, Mari said, listen, hey, I mean, Jessica said, hey, let me let you know, I can't cook. Just to let you know. Okay. We can move that on. Red and Unique obviously had their conversation. I'm rushing through it so I can get my panelists on, by the way. So don't worry. It's not a deep breakdown. But Red and Unique had their discussion. He said he felt they ended on bad vibes and then addressed it with her. And he felt disrespected. The job comment, then Unique doubled down on the job comment and said about, you know, she basically said she ain't changing her point of view when it comes to the thought job situation. So instead of actually apologizing, she doubled down. So she went again and doubled down. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. All right, double down then, baby. Yeah. Um, and then said obviously, and then she said obviously I didn't mean for you to take it to heart. And I was like, oh, okay. It's not an apology, but we'll take it. Yeah, and then obviously he let us know that he's very petty. You know, she gonna put 10 on, he gonna go 15. So he let us know that way as well, right? Then the group date with Tequila, Phil, and Habib. Tequila asked Phil about why he pulled away. Self-awareness was lacking there from Tequila. Baby, you were talking about sex in the first episode and then decided to kind of shame him through your facial expressions. That's why he pulled away. Janelle said she's feeling red, which I didn't even know came out of nowhere. Obviously, of course, we're in the second episode, so I don't know why I'm saying it came out of nowhere, because it actually didn't come out of nowhere. It was only the second episode. But Janelle and Red, I just never saw it. I never saw it. And now it's here. So we're going to deal with it. But, you know, during that particular aspect where she said, obviously, you know, Tequila said, no, Janelle said, no, Janelle said, obviously, she's feeling red. Tequila said, I'm feeling him too. Janelle then said, that's cute for you. So that's when we got our first instance of Janelle moving mad with her particular side remarks as well. Okay. You know, that was a bit of an interesting one. And then she kind of came at Kira as well, a little bit through a shot about a bag is real. You know, didn't want Kira kind of flirting with Red, didn't want Red kind of lifting her up or anything. She kind of showed a bit of her hand there as well. It wasn't very good vibes, so I can't lie to you. Then we had Habib, Kira, and Tequila conversation. You know, Habib talking to Kira said, do you know how hard it is to keep it in your pants? He said this comment, which was announced, and I put there disgusting. I was like, why did he say that comment to Kira? Like, it's so hard to keep it in your pants. There's just no decorum with Habib, and that was before we mentioned that, before she mentions it in the lounge as well. So then Tequila obviously asks Habib, how did you deal with women when you were going to different places? And he quite brashly, boldly said outright, I cheated. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I rate him for being so truthful and honest, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared, and I'm scared of you. Yeah, Habib, I'm scared of you. All right. So yeah, that was a bit for me. Then obviously you had Herbert and Sierra. Herbert, you know, Sierra was talking about how Herbert's a giant teddy bear and being all erotic, and she let us know that she's abstaining. So she's abstaining for now. We love it. We love to hear it. She's abstaining from the situation, so she's not having sex. Okay, guys, can't mention that word because obviously we're not grown enough for that word. You know, some of you are not 18. Yeah, you know, sex. You know what I mean? So you can't mention that word. But no, like, yeah, she talks about like abstaining from that situation and how it's helped her kind of be better in relationships and kind of see herself in a better place. But you know, Herbert said, listen, hey, you know, I'm a sugar sherbet, baby. Okay, all right. Put the S from your name in front of my name, you get sherbet, baby. Okay, all right. I put the S in the sugar. Okay, all right. I do this thing. Okay, I'm sexy. And you know it. Okay, stop that. But you know what I mean? Like, and so, you know, somebody said that he doesn't mind waiting, but he's not trying to wait. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't mind waiting. I don't mind waiting. He didn't mean that. He does mean waiting, but he said he don't. I think what he really meant was I don't mind waiting like a month and a bit, but I ain't trying to do that whole long, you know, to your marriage situation. So you're gonna have to sort that out. And he let her know confidently. And then we had Chris and Jessica also had more of a conversation. And that's when he spoke about the arranged marriage. We had Aries and Quinton. Now, Aries was putting some little, you know, Aries was doing her bit, you know. Aries was putting her hand on Quinton's arm and all that thing there. I said, oh, baby. Okay. Aries was touching up Quinton and that, you know. And then they spoke about the fact that there's a 10-year gap. So that's not working. I'm sorry. She's 10 years older than him. do we gotta do Aries? Okay, all right. And by the way, Aries is fine. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be up in her DMs. I'm just gonna say that straight. No, she knows that already. But no, for real, a 10-year gap is quite a large time, especially when the woman's actually older as well. So it's gonna be a very difficult to make that work outside of the show. But Aries is fine and she's thick. Oh my god, damn. Father, we thank you in the name of Jesus, oh Lord, for the woman that you have brought to these shores, Lord. We just thank you for all the goodness and the mercy that you bring to us. So yeah, so it's she's a beautiful woman, and there's some really great conversation between the two of them, and they seem to be connecting more than they thought they would. Then Quentin and Lee had a conversation again. She said she doesn't usually date fitness people, but it looks like a match made in heaven. They had a very long and sweet hug, and then she asks about, she asks about, this was a key question. She asks about the attention she gets. Now, here's my thing. A little antenna went off in my head. Okay, all right. Now I said I'm gonna hold a space for Lee, because I'm a little bit discombobulated because of how fine she is. But I'm gonna hold a space for Lee because my antenna went on. It went when she started saying, "I just want to let you know, I get a lot of attention from my thighs," and I was like, "What kind of attention are we talking about here? Like, you mean people are going to be commenting on your page? That's normal. We understand you're a fitness, person. What did you mean by that? Did you mean that you've had previous partners who have been a little bit insecure, or are we saying that you're doing some photos that don't need to be done?" Because you know what? I didn't want to mute. I didn't want to go to the dark side, but it sounded like, baby, you mean you post some, and I don't mean she's naked or anything. I'm just saying that, are you posting pictures to get your ego stroked? And you're saying that someone should be comfortable with it? Or are we saying that you've had maybe some past partners who have been insecure about you posting up pictures where you had your thighs up? Just wanted to be real. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, and I when she mentioned it, it just made my antenna go up. So I want to, I want to make that very, very clear. You know what I mean? So, I want to just be, someone said, I love around said, workout pics be erotic. Listen, and look, I've seen some fitness ladies out there and stuff like that, and yeah, they're good. I mean, I'm not in the DMs or anything, but I can understand some people might be in the DMs or comments on the page or whatever as well, like talking about how fine her thighs are and stuff like that. I get it; it happens. It comes with the territory. So if that's what she's talking about, that's completely different. You know what I mean? So I think that's fair enough on her part, just to allow him to know. You know what I mean? I would have told her, sis, if that was me, I'd just tell her, listen, just be ready when I don't be complaining when I do this. You know what I'm saying? Because two can play your game, play that. Don't be complaining don't be telling me to put my teddies away, okay? All right, don't tell me to put my teddies away when you got your thighs out, okay? All right, we all can play that game, okay? All right, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Do your thing, bis. Do your thing, sis. I'm just saying. Yeah, and then obviously we had the showdown at the very end, which I don't need to really talk about because I've done a whole video on it, and that ended the show. So that was my quick little recap as well. I've put the link in the chat if you do want to join the conversation, but I'm going to bring on my panelists as well. Just out here, I just wanted to put this shirt on just to prove to people because they kept on saying I did it for Simone. Y'all don't know I have a type, but don't worry about it. But I want to get the chesticles out so y'all can see. Okay, all right, because I'm out here catching fish. Okay, all right, cool. So let's get into some panel conversations. I have a few people behind the scenes who I'm going to bring on. Good to see Tyler back as well. Good to see you, brother. All right, cool. So yes, Jay, loving the hair as well, man. Loving the hair as well. JR, what are you saying, bro? I was with JR on the weekend as well, so good to see you, bro.
Cool, bro. Good to see you too, bro. Good evening, everyone.
What are you saying, Jay?
Hey y'all, hey everybody. If I feel like if Sierra could switch it up, I could switch it up too. So I'm going short for the summer. It's hot girl Barbie summer, okay?
I hear you, baby. Tyler.
Woo woo woo! Peace to the panel and peace to the chat. How y'all doing?
Love that. Love that. Thank you. All right, let's start from the very beginning. There was a lot to cover in this episode as well. I want to talk about the main kind of one at the beginning. Let's go about unique. Unique, Marvin, and Red, their particular situation. But let's focus. I mean, yeah, we can do it. It's a triangle, which is not a triangle, but Unique, Marvin, and our brother Red again once more. Unique and Red got into it again, round 2, and the petty came out. The round came out of Red, and he gave her 15, as he said. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that situation. How did you guys see it? Because Unique, held her own, and Red held his own. What's you guys' thoughts on this as well? Okay, Tyler, I'll let you go, Captain. Go for it.
So I got my notes here too. I called it Thought Job Part 2. Back at it again. And my thoughts on this, well, I think Unique, what she did from the first episode and leading up to where it happened in episode 2 was pretty much place a stigma on Red based on his career. So the fact that he's a DJ, okay, automatically that's a thought job. But then also what she said, he's supposed to handle it because his other job is a comedian. So I think what that puts out to the audience is generalizing, oh, well, comedians shouldn't be offended by whatever, is said to them because that's their profession, is to make jokes and, kind of talk about reality, but articulate that in a way. And I don't, from Red's end, I understand why he responded the way he did, but then I think he should have looked at it as Unique pretty much did a favor as to, you shouldn't really make that connection after that, because episode 1, she pretty much exposed herself and her interests, and clearly she's not interested in you. So I think for Red, it's just best to leave that alone and just, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Another thing too, I'm still trying to figure out what they have in the past going on, because they met each other before, but there's no details. So maybe it's in a reunion, maybe it's down the line this season. Something's got to give, because they met, they're in the same industry and there's nothing, being talked about. But that's pretty much what I have so far,
Good breakdown. Like it, man. JR, talk to me.
Yeah. I think Unique isn't attracted to Red. So she's using his occupation as a way to eliminate and nip that in the bud early. Because it still doesn't make sense to me how that job is a thought job, but, being the BDSM master of sensuality and erotic novelists and whatever Marvin claims to be, like, how is that not a thought job? And if she's attracted to Marvin and what he does, and is preparing herself to hear other ladies being entertained in the basement while she's upstairs chilling, waiting for him to finish work, that, I don't know what she's thinking. So I think it was just some shade thrown to Red because there is a lack of attraction there, and maybe Marvin is more aesthetically what she's looking for, so she's willing to hear him out. And I can't say I fought Red for coming back at her with how he did, because it's his profession, and she's basically mocking what he does for a living. And as far as I've heard, he is a well-known DJ in that area. So, like, he's going to be out in the open making his money, whereas Marvin is going to be in the basement somewhere, in the dungeon somewhere.
Not the basement.
So that doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, she put some spice on it, and I didn't really care for it. But again, she's just eliminating him from contention.
Jay, what's your thoughts on this situation?
Well, we're gonna see who JR is about to be going at most of this season already. Uh, Listen, Red could have kept his 15 cents to himself in this moment because he did himself a disservice by going over there and rehashing this. It was finished the last time. Y'all both chalked it up. He said it in his own confessional. She's not the one for me. So why go clear it up? You made it kind of worse by trying to have the conversation. Now, I will say, Unique was very wrong in what she said, especially for the fact that she got mad when he said, well, if my job is this, that means your job is too. That means when you got mad, you meant it as he is a thought. So that's on you, okay? Because you shouldn't have meant it like that. If you're just saying that that particular job is a thought job, that's a whole different meaning from me saying that you are a thought. And that's how she took it back. So I got to assume that she felt he is a thought. Now, it sounds like it's coming from a personal place. Not really sure. They seem to have ran into each other in the past. Don't know if the job reminds her of an ex or if her girlfriends or somebody she knows has dealt with him and had a bad experience with him. I do not know. We need some more clarity on this whole subject because a lot of it sounds really, really personal coming from Unique. And the way that she got mad and when he said, well, your job is a thought and flipped it back, it's like, girl, just because he's a comedian does not mean he has to take a joke. And you did not mean it as a joke. So stop playing in our face. Because if you meant it as a joke, you would have said, this is what I meant. I didn't mean it like this. I'm sorry that you took it this way. But you didn't. You doubled down and you got in your feelings when he said, okay, well, if my job is a thought, yours is too. So both y'all should have never had this conversation. And at the end, like I said, Red played itself because the way Unique walked away gave me every bit of petty that I love in the world. He said, I guess we shouldn't be together. She said, okay.
Oh.
And walked herself off, okay? And walked herself off. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. He used to sit there looking stupid for the cameras to fade out. So that's what he gets. So he should have left it alone. That's my thoughts.
I hear that. Crystal.
Hey everyone, miss you friends. Jay, I'm loving, I love that lipstick and that purple. So hey everyone, let me get to it. I know plenty of DJs, well not plenty, I know 3 specifically that have made their career out of being a DJ, a music producer, and they're not thoughts. And they've really done a great that are very well known and done great in this in the industry. So for her to, I think that she was trying to be cute and it didn't come off cute. I agree with Jay. Just because he's a comedian doesn't mean he has to take a joke. It kind of punched him a little bit, and he was like, "Whoa!" But I also think, sir, you deaded it when she did it. You didn't have to go back, run it back, and try to have a come to Jesus moment. Don't try to smooth it over and say, hey, I think we got off on the wrong foot. No, she's not attracted to you. And let it go. And I think he should have just let it go because I really felt, I said, oh, this is not going to go well. It's not going to go well. So you should have just let it go. Yeah, because I feel like she was like, well, if you don't have a thought job, prove me wrong. That's kind of what, because I said, let me watch this again. Oh, so you have a thought job. And I said, he probably does not have a thought job, and he's probably doing very well, and he's probably very well known in the club scene, and he's probably doing really well. But it was almost like, prove me wrong. So, how have you been in your relationships and stuff like that? He's like, I don't have to do that. I don't have to prove anything to you. So it just went way wrong very quickly. So yeah. She was wrong for doing that, and he should not have tried to spin the block and tried to smooth it over. Yeah.
I agree, because to add to your point and to Jay's point, him going back to Unique and saying that, since we're in the industry, I guess we're both thoughting. Now she's going to twist that because we saw in the confession as well as the ladies' lounge to where she said, oh, Red called me a thought. But it wasn't that. It was, the fact, it was the job, because she said, that's a thought job. So him going back gave Unique fuel to twist those words and to paint Red as the bad guy. And then on top of that too, I mean, DJs, we know they do They're in various environments. It's not just the club. He could have been DJing at a graduation party, possibly at a wedding. Who knows?
Yeah. And I know, and y'all know, I know plenty of film producers and directors that are not thoughts. So I was like, that's not a good comeback. Do better. So
yeah.
However, they're in the proximity of thoughts. And so that's how I took it. I don't know how they both took it so personal. I just thought they were saying you're in a job where there's a whole bunch of access to a variety of people.
That's how I took it too.
Yeah. So
that's not how JR took it. Go on, JR.
She tried to differentiate. She tried to make a distinction. But I agree. That's how I took it as well. But you know, let's be real. Like, as a producer and a DJ, both of them have the opportunity to meet each other in various different environments. She may have gone to a club or a party that he DJ'd at and met him there. Who knows? But because it wasn't elaborated on, it just came across as a very shady comment to make, to disqualify someone from, you know, being in contention for you. Like, you could have just kept it moving, just, you know, avoided too much interaction with him. But to call him out on his occupation, you know, it's not easy to make money if you're self-employed. And if you're going around town DJing, trying to make a name for yourself, and then someone's trying to throw mud at it, and that's probably something you've had aspiration to do for a long time, you're going to get defensive. And that's what she did. She got defensive when he flipped the tables on her. So if she wasn't calling him a thought directly, why would she feel insulted when he said the same thing back to her?
Listen, I'm hearing you. You know what I mean? I personally think, you know, I think she, like I said it with my reviews. I think she just saw, maybe she saw something with him and a friend. You know what? My girl said, you're getting to get back. I'm gonna get you back for my friend. You're gonna get one of these 2 pop, quick ones. And she said, thought job, got underneath the skin, but wasn't ready for the comeback. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. So if you go and defend your friend or whatever she was doing, I need you to have some strength in the skin that you got. Okay, don't dish it, and then don't feel some type of way when it gets handed back to you, because then what was the point of going there in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, you go and whip someone's ass and then be complaining when they whip your ass back. That's not how the game works. You know, if you throw hands, someone can throw it back, and you can't complain how hard they're throwing it back to you. So just be careful out there. Black, I ain't heard from you. Go for it.
I'm really trying to understand why he even took the time to do this, to be honest with you. It made no sense at all. Brother, it hurt your chance. You almost got sent home because you sat there and had another conversation with this woman. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It seems as if he went home after the first interaction, thought about it, and said, oh, she got the best of me. I got to come up with some material, a one-liner that's going to get me back where I need to be. So I'm going to reach out to her, have another date, only for me to call her a thought back, or say her job is also a thought job. Wow. I don't know how popular he is in Dallas, but here in Atlanta, Georgia, that type of material don't work. It's just not going to work. So to me, I think that Red had a lot to say to her that he couldn't say, because it's man versus woman. We have to be very cautious about how we come off, especially on live TV. He really wants to do more. He really wants to lay more into her. I could see it in his eyes. So she got up again and got the better of him again with that walk away. So he needs to dead this, because he already knew she was going to take that back to deliberation. So if you know that, leave this thing alone. That's only one vote. One vote. He could still be in the game, but because she presented it the way that she did, that's what cost him. That's what got him to the bottom, because they think he out here calling women thoughts. So because of that, he was low. So I think that it served him better to just leave the whole thing alone, because I don't think she would have brought that incident up anymore. I think that was long gone. So he did more damage than good.
Definitely hear you on that. Yeah, he was ready to roast her. I know he wanted to call out something about her. I know he wanted to drop that. You know, when you roast the person in the crowd who decided to pipe up, yeah, he wanted to do one of those things to her. I know he did. Any other thoughts on Red and Unique before we switch it to Marvin? Any other thoughts on Red and Unique? Tyler, did you open your mic to go for it?
Oh no. I mean, okay. I'm thinking maybe she was upset because she made a song request and Red didn't want to play it. Maybe
She was standing in front of the decks like. He was like, not that chick again. This one goes out to.
Are you
He definitely said something on the mic
scratch
that night.
Switch again.
He said something wild, I'm sure. I'm sure he said something wild. Any other thoughts on them before we switch it to Marvin conversation? Yes. Oh, Seaway, I haven't even asked you. Sorry, apologies, Seaway. Yeah, Seaway. We're talking about Red and Unique and their interaction, and the fact that Red and Unique went at it once more again for round 2. I'm sure they'll go round 3 as well next week, because Petty is Petty. You know what I mean? And Petty don't want to stop. So, what's your thoughts, Seaway?
Hey, everybody. I didn't know why he had to circle back and have that conversation. As Jay said, like, did she touch his heart? Did she must have touched his heart, because I'm trying to figure out why he's so pressed that he had to have that conversation. He seems like he has like little man syndrome though. Like he seemed like he one of them people. He really got a little syndrome or two. Cause he's too butthurt over nothing. And better yet, if it's something to you, I don't like to minimize people's feelings in 2023. I know women, we've been accused of doing that. So if it was a big deal to you to say that she said you had a thought job, then it's enough people on this show to move around and not speak to her again. So I thought he was very petty, and pettiness in a man is extremely unattractive. So, but ain't she the one who think ain't Unique the one who thinks that the seductress man is cool?
And is
seduction scriptures. Yeah.
She a little bit of a hypocrite.
So something wrong with her too. But we get to that, I'm sure. But yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you, Seaway. Sean?
Hey, so yeah, no, I'm right on with what Corey shared. And I would just add to that, I think, it's one of those double standards. Did
we lose you?
Well said. Well said.
Because if we don't do it the right way, it's going to come off sassy or just ill-placed or toxic. So just for the looks of it, especially you're on a dating show, it's very early on in the process. I think sometimes, and we all know my personality. I can go tete-a-tete when I want to, but I think sometimes it is better to just let somebody sink themselves before you try to be the one that sinks them and then you get sunk. Because ultimately, I just think it didn't work out in Red's favor here. How the whole situation played out. I think just let it be, let her have her opinion, right? Opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has one, and they're full of what? Fill in the blanks. So that's that.
Thank you, Sean. All right, let's switch it to Marvin and Unique. Why are you laughing at that, JL? Let's switch it to Marvin and Unique. Mr. Marvin with the dungeon. I don't know how some of the women are not scared. Personally, I think they are actually. It's Unique that's not scared. And that's concerning to me. Everyone else seems to be scared of Marvin and his job. Someone said that is he paying his IRS taxes? I don't know. But Marvin and his dungeon surely should have been a little bit of a tinge in Unique's antenna going off when she's talking about Red being a thought job. I'm thinking to myself, if that's a thought job, what do you call what Mr. Marvin Gaye is doing over that side? That's all I want to know. You know what I mean? So what's you guys' thoughts on Marvin and Unique and their connection? He was talking about how she's so submissive. She was saying how dominant he is. It was really given I don't want to say it because if you ever got lost in that world, it was giving a little before it gets to the main action of a particular type of film. But anyway, what's your thoughts to Marvin and to Unique? Who wants to go first? Yes, who's opening their mic? Go for it. Someone open their mic. Someone breathed and then mic was open. Yeah, y'all can't be doing that. If you breathe like that, I'm gonna choose you. Jay,
I'll
why are you
go.
going with? God said Jay. I'll thank you. Go on.
Listen, I'm going because Marvin. Listen, man. I get that, you know, he may be eye candy for some ladies. I kind of get that impression, which is why I think Unique gives him a pass, because he has led with what he does as an occupation, and that would usually be unpalatable. Like we've seen some of the ladies already eliminate him by saying, "No, that's too much for me." Like I would have expected that to be quite a universal response. But the person who's been the most outspoken about somebody else's career is the one that's gravitated towards him. So that's what troubled me from episode 1. So I do have questions for Unique. It's not that I'm going in on her because she's a woman. No, I just think so early in the game where you're trying to, you know, connect with people, and even if you're not feeling them, you don't have to be so harsh about it, because just like the women can go back to the ladies' lounge, the men go back to the men's lounge too, and they talk, right? So, but with Marvin in particular, listen, he's been quite detailed in what he does. He hasn't just alluded to it and, you know, and whispered, "Yeah, I'm in a radical for." No. He's actually gone into more detail about the BDSM side of things that he does, right? And for Unique to be curious about that, that makes me feel like, you know, there's something not quite right there, because to be tortured, the pleasure pain principle, I don't know, maybe the thrill of the level, I don't get it. But that type of profession would instantly and should instantly give alarm bells to anyone who's looking for a more conservative occupation in their man, right? So that was my whole problem with the Unique situation with regards to Marvin. It's like you're outspoken in one sense, but this guy's he's actually in the sex industry, and you know, is she really going to be cool with him carrying on that profession if they were to connect and make a match, right? I really don't think so. I don't, and that may be why he's single. He's struggling to find a relationship where he can keep that occupation while still having a relationship of some kind that isn't based on the whole BDSM thing. He looks like he can definitely attract attention, but whether he can retain a relationship, you know, with that occupation, I doubt it very much. But seems like a pleasant dude, but you know, it's a shame that he's leading with that, and you know, it's a red flag in my opinion.
Appreciate it, Joe. Who would like to go next?
I'll
Don't rush
I'll
at
go.
once. Thank you, Tyler.
In the words of Drake's song 0 to 100, she gonna see some that she don't want to see. So Unique, I mean, hey, you know, Marvin seems nice, gentle, very dominant, masculine. It all looks good from the surface until you're really in that realm, and maybe, you know, one-to-one interaction. It's probably a totally different Marvin. We don't know what it's like. So there's that. But I don't know. When Kojo, when you mentioned about how she was, you know, kind of like prissy and cute, you know, ting, you know, I don't know. I thought it was kind of a stunt, maybe stroking his ego a little bit. It just seemed like overdoing it, you know, like, oh, I mean, I like him, but I'm just a little bit scared. I'm like, huh? I mean, just like you signed up for this episode 1. So I don't know. Like, I think she's trying to play a game on him maybe a little bit, and you know, Marvin's probably genuinely looking for something, and I'm looking forward to see how that goes. But yeah, it's I think going back to the foundation of it, Unique is definitely intrigued by Marvin, and I believe that because, you know, he's probably a type of guy that she's never dealt with before. So that curiosity planted the seed in her head to just see, you know, I want to know more about this guy. Like, what is this like? Maybe she read books up on it too. So who knows? You know, this could be her fantasy that she's trying to create for herself. So
Good point, Tyler. Sean, you can complete the trio because we're at the top. What's your thoughts to Marvin and Unique? What's your thoughts there? You know what I mean? She gonna tap out?
I think she's got the curiosity, and you know what they say about curiosity, right? You know what it does to the cat. And I think she want Marvin to do some work on her cat. So we're gonna that's all I got to say. I think that's what it is. You know, the way she was giggling and he was like she was giving off the submissive energy. You know, I think she's very much wanting to see what that dungeon looks like. And it ain't gonna get her ready to love. She's gonna be ready for something. But you know, hey, listen, more power to her. Everybody's grown as long as they're consenting adults. You know, go off.
That curiosity gonna get her ready for pain. I agree with Sean. I said, you just so curious, and would you say you so nosy? You want to find out what's under the bed. I said, girl, and I feel like I saw him on another show that said that he had several other conversations. But that's all they gravitated to. But that's your job. That's your career. That's, of course, they're gonna gravitate towards that and cut everything else out because everything else is boring. That is what's more interesting. So that's it.
Pisha, Jay, what's your thoughts? Oh, sorry, see what you no, my bad.
Okay, see where you about to go? Oh, she said, all right, I got it. Anyways, I'm with Sean on this. She's curious. That's why she finds him attractive. She's curious about it. The weird thing about it, and it was a red flag for Marvin, is that it's not that he just writes about this stuff. You know, sometimes you can just think about these things or whatever and stuff, but he told one of the girls that he actively does this. So that means you're out here doing these things so you can have something to write about. That's concerning. Okay, that is very concerning. She needs to look into that part of it all. Like, this is his stories. These are his accounts. So you might want to read these books before you invest in this man. Like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? Then just because he's doing all this and stuff, you might find out it still might not be such a great as encounter as you might think it is. You might be thinking, oh, I'm going to be tied up and this, that, and the third. And it still might be as fun as you think. Some people could tie you up, but the D still be trash. So don't let the curiosity kill the cat, like Sean said. Chill out, just stand back and just watch and just observe and whatever, you know, maybe like from afar, read some of the books first, and then like really take your time to get to know him. You just want to play in his like laboratory, his little dungeon. You know, you can go to Candy Coated Nights, figure out what the dungeon do before you mess with this man. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh.
Man, Candy got a tour. If you really want to see, you can watch Twa. You can go to the tour. There's a couple of clubs you can go into, you know, just to watch. You know what I'm saying? You can do a couple of different things. I'm just saying, don't make a whole relationship with somebody and you already think a person with that DJs and do stand-up comedy is a thought job. You know how many thoughts come, or how many, not even thoughts, excuse me, because I'm going to insult some people. How many women turn up for erotic books? And if the man looks halfway decent, it's going to be like, oh, okay. So at them book signings, he's signing his numbers on some of them books. Don't play. Okay. So do you.
You ain't lied. Seaway.
I think that's the part Jay hit on the end that's throwing me off. I think that if people are equally yoked, they can work, right? So if she maybe was like Candy or my girls at that Horrible Decision podcast, which is like my favorite, Wheezy and them, if she was in the sex industry or adjacent, then maybe this could work, because you guys, you know, like there are people in that industry that have serious relationships and they make things work or whatever. That's fine because they understand each other's lifestyle. I think what's throwing me off is like what Jay said. If you were quote unquote judgmental enough to call a person with a DJ job and a comedian job a thought job, that makes me feel like you have more stereotypical boundaries that maybe most of us would have, right? Then I just don't see how that same person would be interested in someone who is not even just interested in BDSM in their personal life. That's one thing. But this person is actually doing it for others, for pay, and to write his books. That to me just feels like you're not thinking things all the way through, and you just say things to just do things, and you were better off just saying like, I don't like you, little man, to the whatever his name was. She was better off saying that than coming up his profession, because the truth is you don't mind if he's a thought. That's not what you actually don't like. You just don't like him. So I think that was, you should just come out, but I'm not interested. You know how like Quentin politely declined Tequila, is that her name? And yeah, like you could politely decline without coming at somebody's whole profession when you're really okay with thought and thought behavior or sex industry adjacent behavior. So I think that it's just hypocritical. That's all. And confusing, which is not good for dating.
Bars. Black.
Yeah, he's a walking red flag to me. One thing that stands out about him, he just seems the type to wear 10 bracelets on each arm with fingernails painted. What really threw me off is when he came to the brunch with the velour hoodie on. I didn't know what that was about. I had questions from that start. Okay, let's leave the book out of it. Sir, what are you wearing? Okay, that's one. So two, him saying that he likes a submissive woman, the way that he identified with Unique, it was really interesting to hear him say that. It was very interesting to hear her say that he makes her feel a certain kind of way. And it wasn't just physically or, in that way. She was like my hopes and dreams type of feeling, and I'm like, from what? 2 weeks of talking? Like that normally happens. You have to build time for a woman to buy into you like that. And for her to say the things she was saying based off of pretty much what the book is, she is the target. She is definitely the target for Marvin. That's the type of women that he goes for to come join his dungeon and then 6 games, all this stuff. That's the target. So to me, I think that she's making a huge mistake. I think Marvin is not far from leaving, to be honest with you, because he wasn't invited on any of the group dates. I know we'll get into that later. He wasn't invited to any of those, and with good reason. No one is really looking for Marvin. So he got that one woman. He's not ready for love. He was ready to find someone that will participate in what he does, or someone who is going to be open to what he does. So to me, he's not there for the right reasons at all, because no woman is going to allow you to turn your apartment into a dungeon and be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? So when Jessica heard that, she was like, it's a strong no for me. And that should be the energy of all the women, to be honest with you. You talking about you ready for love, you looking for love, for longevity. You can't find that with this. He has something that he's not going to let go. He's seen success in it. And another thing, why are you telling people about this dungeon? Why are you telling these people you're an erotic author? You could have just left it at author and left it alone. Left it at author. I don't tell people who I'm dating that I do relationship talk or relationship advisor, because that's going to be the topic of conversation. I want people to know who I am as a person, not what I do. So to me, that's what he should have did. Like, I just didn't understand that with him. So he put it out there, he brought it out there, and now he's claiming that that's all people are talking about. No, sir, you started this engine. Now everybody's in for a ride. So I'm done with Marvin. He can go home.
Yeah, I feel that, Black, because it goes back to like the first impression, and how he started with is pretty much how the conversations just go from there. And then not only just seeing Unique as a participant, but possibly as a muse, because he is an author. So this experiment could be something that he would put in his book possibly later on, and it might be, another best-selling book or so. But so yeah, it's tricky. She's got to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, if they're serious about this show, honestly, him or Brandon should not even been on here. Him and Brandon, they just should not have been on here at all. Come on, Jay. Come on, Jay.
You mean Habibi, not Brandon? Travis?
No, Brandon with the
No, you mean
recent
Habibi?
divorce.
The
The recent
divorcee
divorce
with the 4 kids.
with the 4 kids. He married her
You
twice. He didn't get her a second time either.
Why? That makes no sense, Corey.
Oh,
Me
snap.
Habibi.
Habibi, yeah, definitely. I definitely add him in there. You know, we're gonna get him a little later. I got some comments on him too, so I'm gonna just hold back on that one.
I thought Marvin was wearing like an Assassin's Creed outfit. That all
That's exactly what
and you
I
in
said.
Dallas.
That's exactly what I said. On my recap, I said that he dressed like Assassin's Creed.
Sitting on the roof.
Come on now.
I've seen that hoodie
Just
before.
waiting
Somewhere. I've
to-
seen that hoodie.
I didn't understand the hoodie, and he made sure he put the hoodie on low for the brunch. Nobody else is
yeah.
wearing that. But then I had to go back in these pictures. He is
Wasn't it
wearing
a cut,
like
a sleeveless hoodie too?
Man, it was cut. It was a sleeveless hoodie. It was the attire was all over the place with all the contestants. I saw
bracelet.
militant
Dallas,
gear.
though.
I saw someone like they were ready to take over the go. Scarves, open toe, capri. I saw all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Going on. I didn't know what the weather was in Dallas. I didn't know what it was in Dallas. I'm like, is it hot? Is it cold? I just couldn't get it, man. So that brunch was a joke.
Nah, I thought he looked like a ninja and he stole Chang-Chi's 10 rings for a second.
Y'all are wild in here.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't say too much about his dress sense. I will say like the way he presents himself is very sophisticated, but with that side of him that we know about, that he's spoken about, that's what's perplexing to me. Like, I agree with Black. Like, he could have just said, I'm an author, and hopefully I would have thought he would have some versatility in the stuff he's writing about. But to focus specifically on that, as well as, you know, put the theory into practice as well, like, that's the concern. And like everybody said, and like I said earlier, like, are you really going to be comfortable knowing that your guy is getting paid? Fair enough, he may be protecting and providing for you, but how is he doing it? He's got ladies coming to visit him for hours upon end, you know, and he's, you know, making their fantasies come true. So that doesn't make sense to me why someone, you know, as outspoken as we've heard and we've spoken about with Unique, is entertaining him. And you're right, he shouldn't have been cast on the show if they knew all of that, because that's going to be very difficult for him to find a partner. Just from his perspective, finding someone that's going to be open to everything that's going to come with, that's going to be very challenging. The success rate isn't high enough as it is, but to have that, you know, you definitely limited your chances, in my opinion.
Any other thoughts, guys, on Marvin? Sean, I know you got an opinion. I know he's still got some.
Hey, I got a question for you, Coach. When it comes to Marvin, is there anything that he can do, or with the panel, anything he can do to turn this around for himself? Do you guys think there's anything he can do?
I think
it's too late.
I think if he decided that the connection he's made is enough for him to maybe renounce that and maybe go into a different genre, then that might be something, but I doubt it's going to happen.
So he
Anyone
goes
else?
from erotic to novels or something.
to romance. Romance would be a little less crazy.
Okay.
Right?
What? To Roman JR?
Well, listen, he's not going to be charging sessions. Hopefully he's not moving mad.
Have you read a romance novel before? You know how close to erotic that really be? I need you to get into them Zane books. Okay, because them is supposed to be romance, technically. Okay.
No, I mean, toned down, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you need to switch all the way to mystery or something. You need to go to kids' books by now at this point.
Big Ref Clifford or something.
Right.
100 Shades of Black isn't going to work. You know, 50 Shades of Black ain't going to work. So, you know, what type of relationship are you here on the show to look for? If it is someone who's going to be submissive and is going to be like your sidekick while you entertain other ladies, that's going to be very difficult to find.
Okay, cool. Let's shift it. Next one we're talking about is talking about obviously Habib and his situation, because Habib obviously literally ran into trouble with Sierra, but obviously got some safety from Tequilla. Want to get the thoughts on Habib's behavior, because obviously that's what ended up triggering the fight at the very end with the ladies, but specifically focusing more on Habib. I want to get you guys' thoughts, and ladies as well, thoughts on Habib and his particular antics on the show. I mean, he spoke to Sierra, told her, you know, you know what I mean, basically, and then told obviously to Lee at one point, you know, that, you know, she's Emma effing fine or whatever. Then said obviously to Janelle that, you know, I think he wanted to suck a teles. So, what's your guys' thoughts on Habib and his antics, his behaviors on this show? I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Habib. Well, let's get their first thoughts out. Got fire in the chamber for themselves. Okay. Thank you very much.
Right,
go for it, Black.
Yeah, I was going to say, Habibi, what I want to say first and foremost, before getting started on him, if he said what he said to Janelle, that was completely trash. That was just horrible, you know. And I say if he said that because Janelle has shown in this episode that she can be a bit extra, you know. So I don't know if those are extra words. We don't know that for sure. I want to believe her, but if he said those things, man, that's ridiculous. Habibi, I'm trying to think if he had any good moments, any shining moments to me. I think but one positive thing I would say that came from him was that he was upfront and he let it be known how he was feeling about Tequila. You know, I think it takes a lot to be able to come up and just say how you feel. The way he talks to women with us a lot. We as men, I mean, this is a perfect example. You have to know how to talk to a woman. You can't talk to a woman all reckless. And I don't know if we're just on in general or a certain part, but his conversation with Sierra and what he said about mom, there's no way you can put that into a joke. You know, now, I mean, I don't care if you've known her for years and you're cool with her mom loves you, and you said that, it's still not appropriate. Like, he was just a walking sign for what's inappropriate, what not to say, what not to do when interacting with a woman. Now, it seems like he may be one way as far as nervous when talking to women, but then he says he's a musician and he goes out and he gets women different countries or whatnot. So maybe he's just used to that type of lifestyle where he doesn't have to put up much effort to get what he wants, and that may be easier for him than being in a long-term relationship. I think that Habibi really fell down when he went to the chopping block with Brandon. I think when he came back, he was not the same. He wasn't as bad in the first episode, but the second one, he just really slid down that slippery slope. So to me, I think he was just lost. I think that at sometimes it seemed like he was a bit maybe high or intoxicated in some kind of way, because the way he was just talking, like he just couldn't be in his right mind with the things he was saying. So yeah, I think there's more to him that we may not be aware of when it comes to like mental state, possibly. But he just has some characteristics that's like, well, eye-opening to me. That's all.
Who wants to go next? Fire away. Go for it.
There were so many things that I started to think that he was a producer plant. At the beginning, when Janelle said, Habibi said something to me at the mixer that was just totally inappropriate, I said, this guy is going to keep talking and he's going to get himself in trouble. They're not going to have to get him off. If they don't do something, it's going to be like 2 seasons ago. So they need to just do something, nip it in the bud, because he's just popping off at the mouth, and it's just too much. I, like Black said, I don't know if we're gonna go through the whole thing, but it was just way too. He thinks he's being funny, but he's being crass. Like he just thinks. When he said that to Sierra, I was like, let me watch this again. I said, she's talking about her mother peeling crawfish, and then I think he thought he was being funny, but he wasn't funny. Like, I don't know you to talk about my mother like that. That's not okay. That was not cool. And I'll be honest with you, I believe that he said that to Janelle. I think that he thought that he was being funny or sexual, or like, oh, let me give her a little sexual innuendo, let her know that that I think she's pretty. And no, it's not funny. It was crass, it was rude, and it was totally inappropriate. But just the little stuff also that he did say, like, what did he say? My penis. What did he? Instead of saying I took a year to abstain. What did he say? Instead of saying something like I took a year to abstain. He said
he had to keep his thing in it. Yeah,
he can't keep his
penis in my pants. Okay, he could have said it differently, but he kept doing stuff like that. He said something else, and then okay, I will give you that. Yes, you admitted that. So, did you cheat? Oh yeah, I cheated. Oh yeah, I just found love wherever I want. But relating abstaining or keeping your penis in your pants for and for a saxophonist, you know how hard that is? How about for a man that hasn't done that? You know how hard that is. For my line of work, you know how hard that is? I was like, what? And he really talked about being a saxophonist. Honestly, Habiza, he was a clown. I'm sorry, I did not like him from the beginning. I think that your name is Travis. You can like the what is it? That culture, but you wearing that garb and do you really know what that means? And I just felt like Habiza is a clown to me. He was an idiot, and every time he came on the screen, it just really just rubbed me the wrong way. And then the whole thing, when I believe that he said that to her. I believe absolutely he said that to her, and that he needed to go. And that's it for now. Because and we'll get to the fight at the end. But there was so much. I honestly, yeah. I'm sure I'll say something later. Go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, the only reason why he gone is because Tommy don't want a lawsuit. That's the only real reason why he's gone, because Tommy ain't never cared about protecting women, not a single other season. But now I think legal must have got down to Tommy about the inappropriateness that's been on these seasons, and now he's gone. I don't have much to say about him except for he's just not serious at all. He don't seem like he lives a serious life in the slightest. I do think it will work for somebody, or like that Tequilla. Is her name Tequilla? Am I making it up? Is that really
Tequila?
Tequila.
Tequila.
Yeah. Tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think there's somebody out there for him. Definitely someone with low self-esteem, somebody giving pick-me energy like Tequila was. I do think there is a match for him out there. But if you're not giving that type of energy, I don't know how you would put up with him. He's just not serious. So that's all I really got.
I'll say this: Tommy ain't getting the lawsuit. It'd be production. So just like last year with the last time with Eric was gone right after somebody said something. Production is gonna get rid of you as soon as you say somebody doing something. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. First, you got to commend the brother for being honest. I give him that. Okay. Honesty and transparency should kind of go together a lot of times, but not necessarily need to go together all the time. And in this case, it does not need to go together, okay? Because obviously some things do not need to be said, especially to people that you're supposedly trying to get to know, to potentially be in a relationship with, okay? Y'all don't know each other well enough to be getting this comfortable with anybody to speak on not keeping it in your pants. The cheating thing, you could speak on it, and you could speak on to why. But sir, you have not grown from it. That was not the last lesson that you needed to learn. You needed to learn to be quiet and shut up sometimes, and not say everything that comes to your mind. disrespecting somebody's mother, no matter how cool you thought it was, or no matter what the relationship with the mother, you should have never had said what you said about that woman's mother at all, especially when the fact that she sat there and told you, don't play with Leslie. She called her mama by her first name. So that's to let you know, don't play with that lady mama. She damn near wanted to cut you at that daggone table. If them cameras wasn't rolling, she would have got up and boxed you, and I would have
She
been all
almost
here
threw that
for it.
drink. You saw the
You know what I'm
motion.
saying? She had to control herself real quick. Okay, she was like, this is done. Shut these cameras off. I'm ready to go, because this is beyond God at this point right now. This man has lost his daggone mind. I don't know if he's a plant or not. Don't really care. Jafar, I'm glad you're gone, because that's his nickname for me. I'm calling him Jafar. He is not nobody's friend. Exactly. You know how Jafar was on the show. That's who he is. Okay, Jafari, goodbye bye. And have a nice day, because you are a waste of everybody's time, honestly.
I do have to say, I really appreciate the way that Sierra handled it, though, because she was just like, you know what, I'm done. Let's go. Let's wrap this up. And she just said, it's time for us to leave. And that was it. I appreciate that she did want to, though, because she really wanted to tell him where to go and how to get there, but she handled it the right way. So, and she was just like, we don't have to talk no more. That's it. She could have Miss Leslie. And I don't know you like that. That's
What's very disappointing is that the fact that he has a capability to have a real conversation, being that Tequila had got so much information from him. So he has the capacity to actually sit down and have a decent conversation once you get past all the BS. But I don't know why you have to lead with all the BS. And if you're not interested in these people, it's a better way to sit here and say, I'm not interested in y'all, than then play up in these women's face like that and acting like you're something that you're not. It was very disappointing.
Yeah. And even on top of that, like, Sierra gave Habibi another chance in scheduling a date, because she probably thought in her mind, let me get to know more about him, because he seems funny. So maybe there's a serious side. And she saw what she got. I think at the end of the day, for Habibi, I don't know if this is a reality check for him, but it just goes to show that, there's some people that you might get away with, Tequila, unfortunately, but then when you come across a real woman or a real person that is sure of themselves and they have, things that they just don't tolerate, you get exposed and you make yourself look like a fool. And for that, Habibi, I mean, he's just out. So
yeah, I think it's my turn to cook Habibi. Listen, like, he had his wake-up call last week that the way he was approaching the ladies was not sitting well with them. He was in the bottom. And I think if he was serious, he would have come in to this episode with a different energy, trying to really endear himself to people more and kind of change certain things. But instead, he ramped it up and definitely got more disrespectful. If he did make the comment to Janelle, then yep, definitely uncalled for. I think he probably did say that based on the fact that he's so free with his mouth. He doesn't have any filter. Crystal mentioned the other stuff he was talking about with his Johnson. And, he even went further with some of the details about his life outside of his profession. He said that he met his baby mother and they were together for 11 days and she got pregnant. So if you know that that's your backstory, then how can you come in with this type of energy and expect to really find somebody and really take the process seriously? You're turning off the ladies that you're supposed to be there to try and attract. And I don't think he was even pressed about it when he was hearing the feedback, because he didn't change.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care. He's like, this is how I am. This is how it's going to be. And, I'm not toning down. However, I think him and Trinika, they kind of bonded over being in the bottom.
Ooh, that's your girl, Trinika.
Sorry, not Trinika, Tequila, sorry. Too many T's. Too many Elas. Yeah.
Too
So
many peas on your tongue.
it's late here. It's like 3 in the morning.
But Trinica
Anyway.
on your mind, sir.
Right.
Oh no, absolutely not. No way.
We done told you about that before.
No, definitely not. Right. So listen, back on track.
That's what makes it funny.
Listen, back on track. So Tequilla and him kind of bonded over being in the bottom, I think. So because they felt that sense of rejection from the other castmates, I think they kind of found each other and tried to, connect in some way. But Tequila's not enough to save him at this point. We're only 2 episodes in. So he needs to make as many connections as possible and try and win some favor. And yeah, so I question what the hell he was doing there, to be honest, in the first place. Like he made too many, like he overstepped. He was a habitual line crosser, to coin a phrase. All right. So I don't see any way that he could have stayed in the show. He needed to go home last week. They could have at least kept the eye candy guy, even though he's got a bit more of a a past that is a lot to deal with. But Habib's isn't much better. He's got a baby mother after 11 days of knowing her. He's admitted to traveling around the world and seeking sexual favors because he wasn't getting whatever he wanted from his girl at the time. So, what kind of foundation are you trying to build on with a guy like that? So he deserved to go home for sure.
Yeah, because go ahead, Black.
No, I'm just going to say this one thing. I'm really curious to see if Tequilla is going to be there next episode, because she said, if you're going to let Habibi go, just let me go home. Take me to jail, throw away the key. So I want to see if she's going to actually live up to that. I'm really curious to see that. That's all. Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, like, some people like Habibi, they'll use that transparency as an excuse to whatever comes out of my mouth, just take it, like this is it, whether you like it or not. And it's like, yo, you got to read the room sometimes. I mean, you're on a dating show. Supposedly we think you're looking for love, but you seem to be not. And now that he realized that he screwed up in some way, it's like, you can't saxophone your way out this one. Like, you can't, what did he do? No, you can't do that. Sorry, like, you're off the show.
Well, I'm gonna add just a little bit of controversy to the situation because that's what I do. But I haven't really ran into many women, and I'm not saying I'm Marvin in the the escapades department, but I haven't really ran into too many women that had a problem with giving pleasure in that area. So I have to think that there's something that the saxophonist wasn't doing correctly to motivate the women that he was with to get them to do what he would want them to do.
Yeah, sleeping with everybody. Don't nobody want to put community peen in their mouth.
Oh,
hey, so I mean, listen, that's why I said let me just introduce this, because I've never run into that situation, so I don't understand. Like, ladies, is that an issue? Is that a thing? I've never heard that being a big thing. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to, only for consenting adults that are willing to talk about the topic. But, it hadn't really been an issue for me in my previous experiences in life. So as long as I was willing to do things, then they were willing to do things, So that's all.
Sean said, not in my house.
Sean's got a point, though, because when Lee and Jessica were in the confession, and this is public, they're like, oh, no, I'm not into that. That's just not me at all. But maybe they are. It's just the fact that they're on camera, and saying that maybe it just doesn't seem like a good look for them. So maybe. Never know.
You never know, indeed. See where we haven't heard from you, Habib.
Oh, I talked earlier.
Oh.
And
I had a few more
I
bullets in the
would love
chamber.
to answer your question, Sean, but I try not to go left on public platforms. But
The wisdom.
yeah, I do think though it's it could be what Jay said in a combination of just not wanting to be bothered with him, because quiet as a kept, that's a lot of work, and no one's putting in all that work for someone not worthy of that type of time. So, and if that was his reason for doing whatever he did, it just speaks to his ignorance. Like, if you guys weren't aligned in that on that level, you just could have moved around. At his big age, saying that was the reason why he cheated on somebody, that just sounds absolutely stupid. But I will add, because I said something earlier, but I've seen people like him. He knows how to straighten up and be a little bit more serious for people he's interested in. I could tell. He just strikes me as one of those people. He's probably also not actually interested in anybody on the show, so he's super playing around. I really don't think he was interested. And so, like, he's clowning, a lot more than maybe he would if there was someone he was trying to impress. He just gave the vibe that he's not trying to impress anybody, so he's going to act up even more. That's the vibe I got, which is why I just don't understand why they wouldn't keep the guy with the 4 kids and the ex-wife.
Brandon,
I mean, he definitely could have stayed a little longer. I'd rather sort through that than sort through the nonsense that Habib got going on.
Child, the nonsense is for real. He out here charging people $100,000 to interview. So the nonsense is for real. Okay, Habib is feeling himself.
Oh,
$1,000 to what?
Interview for 15 minutes. Thanks to Kamisha Reviews, that's where she is from. He is charging $1,000 to interview for 15 minutes. Okay, so he is really full of the. I try to tell y'all, Jafar, y'all can put them all together. I don't care which part of that Aladdin crew you want to put it on.
It's a mortgage.
Scam everybody, because you ain't about to tell nobody nothing in 15 minutes you ain't said on the show already. We seen your 15 minutes. You good?
I can't fault a man for going after his money, but that's a little ridiculous. That's a little ridiculous.
That $1,000 might come with a little song or serenade from the saxophone.
It has to be, because that's the only 15 minutes I want to hear from him.
You said 1,000?
I'd rather hear that than him in his mouth.
$1,000 or $100?
1,000. Add that zero on there.
Oh wow!
Respect on his
Does it come with Dubai tickets?
But don't they all try that? They all tried that. Like, didn't Kayla try that with you, Kojo, or somebody?
No, Kayla didn't try that.
Somebody tried to charge.
Yeah, there's only been 2 people who have ever tried to charge.
That's whatchamacallit from last season.
It wasn't Kayla. It was somebody else. The name doesn't even matter.
From last season, and it wasn't even for an interview for the show.
Yeah, there was a couple of them. They tried to charge at first, and they realized that it's not gonna work.
I think that's probably the only thing Habibi's pissed about. He got sent home before he could, blast the saxophone on the show and show what his skills are or whatever.
Well, he should have came in first day with it in his hand, so we didn't have to hear him talk.
Exactly.
He should have walked in blowing it, because we would rather hear that than him. And what's her name? She just likes the toxicity. We're gonna get into her, but yeah, I am glad that she got a little bit past the surface, because nobody else. All we heard was craziness from him. But so you pulled out all the bad stuff that he's been saying, all the crazy stuff that he's been saying, and you got to he takes care of his kids, he does all of these things, and that's what you heard, that's what you saw.
But was she just as bad? Because when he asked her, would you cheat on your man with me?
That's right.
She said yes. So
that's right. You're right. She just wants to.
She told us too that men like the drama. So she already with the ish with him. Like, that's what she want to do. So like Kojo said in the beginning, we better not hear that he's anything but what he was, because he told you who he was in the beginning. You want to play up in it. You go ahead and do you. Be toxic for him. Show out for a couple people. Act like you want to fight everybody for that man, and then just be quiet. I don't want to hear nothing else.
So y'all remember, what's the Nigerian man who was on your show Kojo, all last week? What's his name?
Ekene.
Ekene. Now, remember when Ekene said that it's women's fault that the marriage rate is low, and why women get treated the way we do? And remember when everybody got mad? Y'all don't remember that now? Well, I remember, and I had said that actually he had a point, and this is the point that he's making. Because of women like Tequilla, because of women like Tequila, men are allowed to be on dirt. And I say that to say, as long as there's a pick-me in the bunch, willing to accept whatever, do whatever, have kids, lay down, do whatever they want, 11 women can have standards, but long as that 12th one is willing to go to war for a complete bum, this is the issue. It really is. And this is literally right here. So for anyone who didn't understand what he was saying because his delivery was bad, this is a whole example of what he probably was talking about. As long as you have a woman with low self-esteem, willing to tolerate all the shenanigans and be the garbage collector of foolishness, picking up all the garbage, then you're always going to have men who, are able to do whatever they want. So I've been meaning to say that I understood his point, because here you have it in the flesh.
The garbage collector.
No way. Okay, so when it comes to Tequila, Seaway, what I see from her is that she's had some damaging relationships, right? The one thing that kind of stands out to me with her interaction with Habibi is she likes Habibi's honesty. So that tells me that with the relationship she's had in the past, she got a lot of liars. So even if she's not aligned with what he's saying, she appreciates the honesty of it all. He's given her some haymakers, some bad news, you know what I'm saying? But he's been honest about the bad news to her. And for her, that's a different look than what she's been getting. So the women that you're talking about that pick me and all this, there are women out there who are like that, I guess, in your eyes. But to me, I think Tequila's a little bit different. Not saying that she's the greatest woman in the world, but I think it's based upon her past interactions, why she's accepting something that she's never gotten before. So that's my read from it. I don't know if anyone else read that, but that's a read I got.
Not only just that, Corey, is the fact that she was at the bottom too, and he was the only one that actually really rolled for her too. So it's just like, okay, we're gonna ride for each other then, and it is what it is. So
what's his name? But the S-Girl came and comforted her too.
He came and comforted her, but most of the other men had already kind of like shut her down.
Yeah.
Thank God that she didn't come in with everybody else's energy. Why y'all put me at the bottom? She didn't do that. So God, yeah.
she did it low key though, Jay.
Yeah, she did.
She did it low key, but it wasn't that flat out like them other seasons. A couple of people done did. I can't believe y'all put me in the bottom. So she was a little bit more, had more tact with it.
Well, I would say that, listen, I think previous seasons have taught us that there might be some more to meets the eye, and there may be more reasons than one that she's riding so hard for Hashish/Habibi.
Yeah, because like I said, she's the only one who got that much information from them, so they actually talk. You know what I'm saying? And like,
might have had a note or two played for her.
A note or two.
Coming at you.
Well, I don't dispute what Sean is saying. I'm like, why are you riding so hard for this man you just met? I just did not get it. I really need to watch this back. Like, why did this man must have whispered, just kikied in your ear? I just don't get it. I'm sorry. For him, and then to say, well, if you let him go, then let me go too. Or I was like, if you eliminate him, eliminate me too. Why? He's not giving you anything. Yes, he's giving you some honesty. So to Black's point, so you've been lied to so much that a man feeding you a little bit of honesty is just everything to you. That just makes no sense to me. And again, that's to me. That's just crazy to me that you're gonna fight for some man that you just met a week ago. And she's pulling out all the good things. She's just there. What do you call it? Trauma bonding. I think JR said it the other day that they're going to be trauma bonding with each other, and now they're going to make this connection. That's not a good thing, girl. You just so into this man because we were in the bottom and we're misunderstood. People are just misunderstanding him. And What?
Struggle love. Yeah.
That's not even trauma bonding. You have one person that has trauma, and Habiza, as you say, is just literally looking for a woman he can manipulate who's vulnerable and insecure. That's all that really is. And that's the reason why I don't spend a lot of time on Habibi, because he never has to change, because there will always be a woman that would sit here and want attention so bad that she will call his nonsense honesty. No, it's just literally ignorance. It's literally all it is. It's not honesty. It's foolishness. So, and if he's who I think he is, he saw a woman that was at the bottom, who was insecure, that he could whisper in her ear and say a little something to. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, there would never be a man going that hard for a woman on day 2 of the dating rounds. Like, that was just honestly sad to see. I hated to see it. As a fellow woman, I hated to see that. Because that was just embarrassing. I had secondhand embarrassment, honestly.
I agree with you. I was totally embarrassed for her, and it was just sad to see. And so you're telling me, oh well, he cheated on me, but at least he was honest about it. So, what? No, it was just sad to see.
I think it's interesting to see the two different extremes to the information that was given. So when Habibi told Tequilla that he cheated, the way she took it versus how Kira took it, she said, "Oh, I'm out. I'm done." So certain people do have that instant no to, like, I'm out of here. She did it. Jessica did it with Marvin. So it's like, there are women out there who are like that, but there are women who want to give men chances. And true, there are some men who do need chances, but some men that don't. And sometimes there are certain women who don't know when or what type of man needs an opportunity to show you a different side of them. Habibi is showing you who he is with a repetitive behavior, but she's not looking at it that way. So I get it, but what's missing from her is that she's not able to see what's good for her, what's not good for her. And unfortunately, she's not the only one who's like that. It's not necessarily a pick me situation. It's just bad choosing and leading and wanting to go with the worst decision in a situation like this.
But Corey, I have a question. Don't you think that the way he said it to Kira was not just a matter of fact, but it was almost like proud of it. Oh yeah, I cheated. Like, it wasn't even like he wasn't regretful in any way. That's why she was like, okay, nice talking to you. I'm out. Because
that was actually to Tequila. He said it cheated. He told to Kira that he hadn't been on hold. It was hard for him to be on hold or whatever for the year.
Yeah. Kira asked him, are you a cheater? Are you a cheater?
Right.
He says yes, because he's done it before. So if someone asks, are you a cheat? Then that sums everything up. Like, have you ever done it before? He didn't go into detail. He didn't get a chance to go into detail. Her no was ready. Yeah. So,
but when you answer so direct and frankly like that, what details do we need to go into? Yeah. If you sit there and say, yeah, I have done it before, then we can sit here and break that down on why and how or who or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you just, are you a cheat? Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. I mean, I would just add that, they often tell us we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? And maybe, just maybe, I'll play devil's advocate. They had a real genuine connection that they have developed in their conversations and their text. And they really, she felt strong enough to ride for him. Now, we don't see it. I definitely don't see it, but maybe, just maybe, because the way she was ready to go, full tip with Janelle, and, I'm sure we'll dive into Janelle later. But yeah, I think that I would hope that there was some conversations that were happening. I would hope that there was some, you're in my top, you're my number one, you're my number two. Because for her to feel that emboldened to really just be fired up for anybody to talk about him, that, it has to be. It has to be.
Nah, you know what? I think it's a deeper story with that. Because it wasn't the fact that she was fired up about Habibi. It was the comment that Janelle said that made her snap. You know, when Tommy asked, what kind of man would do that, and then she said they're top men. That was what did it, and I think that came from her witnessing Janelle's interaction with Kira, because Janelle's interaction with Kira, she was just throwing darts at Kira, and Kira didn't say anything, and to witness that, to see that happen to somebody else, when they do it to you, your trigger is there. You ready to go.
It's just not a witness that she kind of did it to her too when she had talked about Red and her being together. She was like, "Oh, that's cute." So that Janelle's been doing little stuff
exactly,
for however long.
Exactly. So to see that happen over and over again, then notice that she did it to you and you let it slide or you missed it, one or the other. When it happens again, you're not gonna let it happen a second time. So I think that's where she came from with that. But like you said, we'll get to it. I'm my bad. I ain't gonna get into that.
All right, pew pew. Pew pew. All right, cool. Next one, we'll move on to let's move on to, I guess, the first group date that happened. We had on that group date, we had Tequilla, Phil, Habib, and Kira as well on that date. I think someone mentioned it as well. We had Tequilla obviously having a beef with I said a beef, but Janelle made a comment about Tequilla, about her liking Red. We then obviously had, Red and Janelle kind of link up. And then we had Habib. Then we had also Kira as well in that mix as well, of a triangle as well. Let's talk quickly about Tequilla not realizing that, Phil ain't want her no more. You know what I mean? Well, he didn't want her in the first place. I mean, once he said about the sex thing, that was it. He was out the door. But just a quick one. What's your thoughts on that? If you have any thoughts on that now, I'll shift it to another person, people will talk about. But what's your thoughts on Tequilla and Phil's conversation, if you remember it correctly? Tequilla basically, it was very short. Tequilla actually asked him, why did you pull away? And he kind of started, but he didn't get to finish because I think Janelle walked in late. So she interrupted the flow. But I want to see if anyone has had any thoughts on that, on Tequilla and Phil's conversation. Go for it, Black.
Yeah, to me, I think she did. I think he did put a period on what he had to say. To be honest with you, I think she walked in after he did that, but she had an opportunity to address it, and she didn't. Janelle seemed like to be the perfect excuse for her not to take accountability for what she said. So I would have liked to see how that conversation would have gone if she hadn't walked in at that time. But yeah, for that little bit that you're asking about right now, I think that accountability should have been had there. I think she should have spoke up and said, hey, maybe it wasn't the right type of way to start off a conversation. Something to say, okay, ice it over. But it seemed like when he had that to say about her, she had nowhere to go. But she's the one who put him out there on Front Street first. When they sat down, she immediately said, Phil, I got a bone to pick with you. Like, what? Where's that coming from? So to catch him off guard like that, then to get that feedback, now you're stuck because it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. You didn't think he was going to say that. How dare a man say that he doesn't want to talk about sex? Who does that? So when he hit her with that, she didn't have nowhere to go. And then with Red saying, well, you ain't talking to me about it. So it's like, okay, now she had to say, okay, why am I talking about one thing with this guy, not with others? So that's what I got.
Yeah, I think, as a woman, you got to be careful, man or woman, but I know women, sometimes we could be a little bit more sensitive when it comes to, not being liked or being attracted to. You got to be careful about what you set yourself up for. He was actually very nice about it. I mean, this is textbook how to turn somebody down politely and respectfully, but also stand your ground. I thought he did it in a very clear and concise way. But I think the insecurity that we were talking about earlier, I think he could sense that with a woman that leads with sex. And a lot of men don't want that type of woman. And I think it's actually best that it got cut off, because how do you explain that to someone? You know what I mean? It's better off that he said what he said, because I don't know how he would really break it down that I find you to be insecure and unattractive because the best thing that you put forward when you're in our first interaction is something surface like sex. That's what you think you have to offer me, and I find that to be ick. Like, that's really what he wanted to say, but he didn't say that. So I think it's best that it got cut off, and hopefully she don't ask him no more about why he feel the way he feel, because I think the next one she's gonna get her feelings hurt. So.
Well, can we speak on the two part of that, the whole thing of her asking the question? Because the first off, she asked the question and then act repulsed by his answer. So, yeah, I'm gonna be put off of you. I'm gonna leave you alone after that because you asked about him and where he did it at, and this and the third, and then you turned your nose up at it. So why are you even asking him again? Why you pull away from me? Like, what? Did you not read your own body language? Did you not understand your own energy you gave off in that moment? Why shouldn't he have put away from you? Like, go run with Habibi. Go with Jafar, please. Bye. Go far, far away with Jafar.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? If I shift it to another couple. All right, cool. Let's shift it then to Janelle Red and Kira Triangle, because that was oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, crazy. Okay, Janelle. Hey, Janelle. Yeah, who opened their mic?
Man, everybody.
Couple y'all open the mic. Y'all ready?
I just got one quick thing to say. I agree with Seaway. Seaway said something earlier that Red has little man syndrome. And when these two women openly said to everybody, I'm attracted to Red, I want Red, this man didn't know what to do with himself. He was like, oh my gosh. Like I think that he does have some self-esteem issues, of course, but just like, he just did not know what to do with himself. So now he's flirting with Kira, but then Janelle's getting jealous. He liked it. He liked all that attention. So, and yeah, that's all. Go ahead, y'all. I'm sure I have more to say later, but go ahead.
Is the dating scene that bad in Dallas? Can I ask the chat? Is it that hard in Dallas? It must be. Because I didn't understand this. Fighting over Red, I couldn't even connect to. I don't even have no words for it.
I couldn't get it.
It must be hard in Dallas. I suggest all y'all move if it's that hard. That this is what's going on down to Ready to Love.
No, hold on a minute. Why we gotta come a red like that? Nah. Why we gotta come a red like that? Listen,
I didn't say nothing about Red. I just asked if they didn't see that hard in Dallas. That's all I said.
What you're not gonna do is imply. Okay.
I didn't say nothing. I just asked the question. I polled the audience.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
I'm gonna try to get us back on track because I already know where that's going. So when Janelle, her interaction with Kira, the triangle between her, Kira, and Raphael, I think that between the three, he was the one to do more wrong than anything. Like, he walked up on Kira, he walked up close to her, and she was like, Kira, you get a little too close. Like, she's telling him that, but he's doing the wrong and he's taking shots at Kira. So I didn't understand that. I'm trying to understand, why are you not holding him accountable? The guy that you just told to his face that you are into him. He's treating that like you're not even there. So from that happening to then fast forwarding it to Raphael going to her face and saying to her, calling her boo and babe, it's like, come on, bro. You just got through flirting with another woman for 30 minutes, picked her up, playing around, being horseplay, and you expect for another woman to accept that? So to me, the whole situation looked a little crazy to me. So yeah.
Who next? I've got some points on this triangle.
Okay.
Go for it, Jay.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. So I'm gonna start off with Janelle. So last week, I was loving the way she was interacting with all the fellas and moving around, and she had nice energy last week. But this week, sis, you got on my nerves. Your insecurities or whatever it is that you got going on that makes you come at the women, and it makes no sense because you're like most of the men's top already. So like you're defeating yourself by doing these little antics of trying to undercut and what you call it, Kojo, dirty macking with the women, like on the women and stuff like that. That's unnecessary. Okay, you're already ahead. You don't have to sit here and regulate what a grown man does. He's not your man. So in that moment, you need to just be watching and see how he moves and see if he's even worthy of being with you. You over here fighting this girl over this man that is not yours. He is free to do whatever he wants to whoever he wants, long as they agree to what he's doing to him or whatnot. And you just sit back and watch. He's letting you know if he's the man for you or not, if he has respect for you or not, because he's doing it in your face. So that should let you know how much he's interested in you. You don't have to tell him, none of that. He's not your child. He does not belong to you. He is not your puppy. You don't have to train him and behave, temper him. And on the flip side of that, Red, you need to be paying attention to the fact of how she's acting already. Because one, you're in a line of work where a lot of women is going to be up in your face on a regular. So if this is not somebody that you can have at the club with you while you DJing, if this is not somebody you can bring out while you got your jobs going on and this, that, and the third, while you're doing your stand-up comedy and women approach you and she don't have a problem with it, she gonna be trying to regulate your every move about your job and all this stuff. This is not the woman for you. So y'all both need to be paying attention to how each other is moving. And I really, really did not like her doing all of that little nasty stuff this week with the women, because she was really nasty this week and it had no reason to be it, because she is very beautiful. And she's not going to sit here and try to convince me this is about abandonment issues from being adopted and all these things like that, because had nobody told you it was adopted, you would have never known. One. Okay, so I don't know what age they decided to tell you that you was adopted, but ma'am, this is not it. You get some healing, get some counseling. And the fact that somebody took you in, that means that some people love you. So you need to sit with that fact right there, that somebody out here, regardless of the reasons why your parents gave you up, somebody loved you enough to take you in and raise you all the way up into the point that you can sit here and tell Red that your daddy is this, that, and the third. You call that man your daddy. So you were loved enough, you were well taken care of enough for you not to be having the same behavior like this and trying to blame it on some abandonment issues. And I got to make sure you're doing. The man is standing in front of you. He ain't even gone nowhere. So that's a problem. That's a problem, ma'am. You got to get that fixed.
On top of that, I mean, Janelle being so focused on Red, you could be missing on your blessing with Phil, because y'all was knocking the pins, and he seems like a thorough dude, so far in the episode. So it's like you could be missing out on a, genuine bond from the guy that you're teaming up with and having a real dialogue and conversation. And he could give you that attention as well. So it's like the fact that you're so focused on Red, I mean, you pretty much blindside yourself with, the potential candidates that you're, around with and also on the show. So, yeah.
Well, I've noticed sometimes women, we get into competitive mode, whether it's we're fighting with each other or trying to prove that we can get a ring or whatever we set our minds on. This may have nothing to do with Red, which also kind of goes to my point earlier. I think they done locked in on each other and now they're competing. Are these the same girls that one was talking about somebody got fake bags?
That was Janelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you start saying stuff like that, talk about who purse fake, who hair fake, who this and that, it's no longer about Red anymore. This is about them two. And that is how you miss out on your blessing. You trying to prove that you can beat another woman out for a man. That's probably not even your man. Your man could be somewhere else, but you fighting with her. Very silly.
Yeah, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that with Janelle. It gives me a sense with her that her behavior was different when Tequilla said that she also liked Red. Like she was like, haha, that's cute. But with Kira, it seems like it's more a little bit of intimidation there. Like when it comes to levels of attractiveness, I think that maybe Janelle may find Kira to be a little more attractive, more of a threat to her than anything. And she may have experienced being passed over for someone else. Now, Janelle is a pretty woman. We've all said that. But even being a pretty woman doesn't mean you don't get passed over at one point in your life. So she may have experienced that and she's holding on to it. So I heard what Jay said. That was a good point with what Jay said about not blaming the adoption. I get that. I'm with you on that. But I think in other phases of her life, she may have been passed over, and she finds that the best way for her to be even is to talk bad or talk down about the person who she's up against. So I think in this manner here that she's doing, it's more of a protection mode that she goes into, a defense mode. So her whole focus was on her, even though Red was doing these things in front of her. Her whole focus was on her, and that's the reason why Phil decided to leave early. Phil's like, "Hey guys, good night. I'm out. I'm good to go." When he wasn't getting any attention, wasn't getting no love from what I saw. So I think that may have a little bit to do with it. Just a thought.
But see, I hear you, Black. Hold on, real quick. I hear you, Black. But that's a I don't love myself issue. That's really what that is, and that's what she need to do is learn to love herself, and then because she already has great energy with men. You feel me? Right. If you have great energy with men, you don't need to be worried about the next woman. You need to worry about if that man is actually right for you or not. That's what you need to be focused on. When you're focused on the other women, you're not like C-Way say, now you're competing with other women instead of focusing on what the actual prize may be. You're gonna win something stupid at the end because you're competing over the woman who might be better suited for that man. You know what I'm saying? Like Red might be an ain't-ish nigga. I mean, excuse my French, but he might be an ain't-ish. You know what I'm saying? My bad. But
well, took us to the street stuff.
Well, like Oni says, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I agree with Black and with Jay though, because she's so well, my bag is better than yours, or my bag is better than hers, and look at what I got. And she's got some real self-esteem issues. You could see the things that she was saying in the deliberation. Like she was right, but just the little stuff that kept those jabs that kept coming out of her mouth. I was like, girl, you got it. And these guys are checking for you, but you are trying to compete with this with Kira, and she's looking at her like, oh, she's young and she's this, she's that. Stop doing that. You're blocking your blessings. And I really think she needs to start paying attention, because I agree with you. That dude, he left, and that could have been a good connection for her, but she was really paying too close attention to what's going on with Red, and that's and she needed to leave him right there. So I think that she does these little things that's been getting her in trouble for a long time. Go ahead.
Question to the men on the panel. How many times does a woman talking about another woman in a negative manner turn you guys off on that woman?
The first time.
Yeah.
The first definitely. Time. Because if you got the juice, you got the juice. It doesn't need to be said. I mean, and she clearly has it in the way that she talks to men. Like everyone can see that. But if you don't believe that in your heart, inside of you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I see. And for you to sit there and talk about another woman negatively is unnecessary. Do you, and you'll win.
But the sad thing is I think that turned Red off, but he also likes that attention. I also think that he doesn't get a lot of that attention, to women like competing for him. So he liked that. Oh, well, I could see, that means she cares. That don't mean she cares. That means that she has self-esteem issues. But that's not what he saw. The fact that I agree with you that's a turnoff, but to him, that wasn't.
I'll tell you this. If you give a man attention, you can clearly see if he's used to getting attention before. Just based on his behavior. Pay attention to how he responds to the attention that you give him. You can tell if he's had it before. Red has not had it before. So seeing two women go back and forth, what he should have done is gotten between them. So ladies say, this is not necessary. Let's just be peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Try to make peace between the two of them and let the thing roll. But he sat there with his popcorn watching, seeing what's going on. I think that was immature. I think that he had he's just never had that type of experience before, having two women that was into him, especially two women who were attractive that's into him. Some people are late bloomers. I talked about that before. you know, and he just hasn't experienced those things.
Loving it, loving it, loving it. I'm loving it like this. All right, cool. Any other thoughts on this before we shift it? Good convo. All right, cool. Next part then is the other date, group date, which was with Sierra, Herbert, Chris. No, Chris wasn't there. Sorry, Sierra, Herbert, Aries, and Quentin were all at a little house gathering.
Yeah, Chris was
there.
Was
Phil?
Phil was,
okay, so
and Phil was there too, I believe.
Yeah,
no,
Chris, Phil.
No,
Phil was there too.
No,
Chris,
no, Phil.
Chris, Quentin.
Who was the guy with the lock?
Herbert.
Herbert.
Oh, Herbert. I got him
but one has locks and one doesn't.
Word.
Herbie Black. Herbie.
Herbie.
Herbert, my bad. No disrespect to Herbert.
We'll do with Herbert and Sierra first because they obviously had their conversation. Herbert and Sierra were talking, and they were talking about practicing abstaining from the old sex. But she did say about I think he said about test driving. And I think she agreed with that. So
listen, I ain't abstain or been celibate. So explain to me which one is which one is holding out till marriage.
That's Sierra.
No, abstaining or celibacy. Which?
Oh,
I'm trying to remember the
celibacy. Celibacy is marriage. Abstaining is holding out to marriage. I mean,
it's just kind of like semen retention.
Yeah, either one could be though. I don't think there's one of them. Yeah.
Well, people be talking like they two different
celibacy
things.
Is
I'm confused.
Celibacy
is a no-go. That's done. That's not about marriage at all. Abstaining it's not necessarily directed to marriage. Abstaining means a period of time where you abstain from sex.
Exactly.
So celibacy is you taking a vow.
Okay.
You ain't gonna have sex. So technically we shouldn't be calling anything celibacy because it's usually for the nuns and the priests, which we don't necessarily do. So unless you're taking a vow of celibacy, guys, and you ain't having sex all your life, then you can say that. But abstaining would be a better way of saying that,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I think she said abstaining. I think she did. Sierra.
No, she said abstaining. I just getting clarity.
Yeah, she abstaining. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts, Herbert Sherbert? But Herbert and Sierra, their conversation, their little chit chat seemed to really get off well. It seemed to be, growing. I mean, kind of had the same kind of vibe with Janelle. He's been getting on well with Janelle too. He got on well with Sierra. He just needs to get on. What's your thoughts on Sierra and Herbert and their connection? If you have any. If not, we'll move to the next one. You know what I mean? Because there was other people in that group
she
too.
said he got the girls downstairs clapping, so he's doing something right.
Woo!
That's what
she said that. Yeah, she said that. Yeah.
She said that or whatever. So there's some type of connection going on there, and they seem to flirt with each other very heavy. So it got her thinking about coming out of her abstinence or whatnot. I guess she want to make it to the 1 year mark. She almost there. So he hold out for a couple of days. They might be test driving some things soon. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. Well, I wasn't curious. I mean, I understand why she did it as far as letting him know that up front. I think for me, I can appreciate the honesty up front instead of, going out on several days and anticipating something happening and then finding out later on that, this is where we are. But her saying that her parts were tingling and stuff like that. She said it in the confessional. She didn't say it to him. So I think it was safe for her to do that. But at the same time, I looked at how Herbert responded to her saying that, and I wanted to see how he, what his thoughts were. His thoughts. Like I said, I think he gave it I gave him like a C minus for how he responded, because he wasn't quite sure what that meant for him in the situation. And I have heard women say that they're abstaining from sex for a little while, or at least until a man shows them that they're serious about them. And it's clear that he's serious. So I've heard that before, and maybe he's thinking that that's something that he may have to do, but he doesn't know how long that's going to take. So he's kind of up in the air about it, from what I gather.
Any other thoughts, guys, before we shift in? Go for it, Tyler.
I guess my thought is I'm kind of I guess being behind the scenes, they've probably talked a lot more because when Sierra said he gives ladies man energy, and it was somebody else too, Jessica, I think was telling Herbert that he gives off player vibes. I had to watch the episode twice because I'm thinking I didn't see Herbert kind of give that off. Not even in episode 1. I think he was just being, a genuine dude. Maybe his presence kind of oozes off that in a way, or something that they felt, but probably it's been something behind the scenes where they've talked and it got to that point. So the connection seems fine. It's nice that it's not just Herbert and Janelle. I'm curious to see where him and Sierra will go, but yeah, I really don't have much on that take.
I wanted to touch on that point. I don't see Herbert giving off ladies man energy at all. I think that was just something for her to say as an end to have a conversation with him. I actually think he gives off very easygoing vibes, and I actually think that he's intentionally easygoing. I feel like he's the type of guy that, he's a big black man, and he said he feels like he's imposing. So he's like, I'm gonna be like more easygoing to make people feel comfortable. That's the vibe I got from Herbert. I could be totally wrong, but I think that she tried to say so. Oh, you give me ladies man, and then he got into the ITM and said that is not at all what I give off. Is what ladies man or yeah, that type of vibe at all. That's not what I give off at all. And I feel like he's worked hard not to give off that vibe. So I think that was just an end for her to say, listen, I'm interested in you. You sexy, and I want to talk to you. That's what she was trying to say, because that's not what he was giving off at all. He had his Cosby sweater on. He wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off though. But yeah, I think Herbert he seemed like he was a cool guy, but he does give like the dad type vibe to me. I saw the sweater, I saw the thin t-shirt with the neckline stretched, and it's like he's just there. So he's not trying too hard to be anything that he's not. So I think he's a cool guy from that aspect, from that point of view. But yeah, I definitely don't get the player or the ladies man type vibe either.
No one else got anything to say? No? Okay, cool. We'll shift it. So after that, then next conversation, I guess that kind of had was Aries and Quentin. You can get some quick thoughts in there before we shift it away. But Aries and Quentin also had a conversation. Chris and Jessica also had their conversation. Chris was speaking about arranged marriages and him rejecting the arranged marriage for himself. And then Aries and Quentin had a conversation, 10-year age gap between the two of them. But you know how it be. So what's your guys' thoughts on those two situations? You can choose either one or grab both of them if you had thoughts on it. What's your thoughts on that situation? Look ready.
I'll go. I like I like Sean and Quentin's talk that they had at her house. It seemed really cool, relaxed. And then on top of it too, I think what I admire about Aries is she seemed thoughtful when she had set up the group date. She seems like she's very observant, because in the confession room, she said, I invited Quentin over as well as Jessica, because I think Jessica's had, was talking with Chris and Herbert and Sierra. They seem to have some connections. So she seems like the type to, not only look for her own interest, but possibly help out other folks along the way too, because she wants them to be happy as well, and possibly, set the stage for that. So I thought, that was a great way of looking out. I do know that the age gap was brought up too during that question. During that conversation. So that is something interesting, and I think Aries is taking account for, because Quentin is 10 years younger than her, but he seems mature, and somebody that doesn't see that as an issue. And with Jessica and Chris, their connection's still fresh to me because I haven't seen them talk in episode 1 as much. And with Chris bringing up his background, being from Nigeria and arranged marriages, I thought that was, interesting as well too. So it's a lot of I guess it's just a lot of, details that we're getting to know about the characters, of course, in the first few episodes. And it's just really nice to get to know them, behind the surface.
I'm struggling kind of trying to remember this scene, but I just remember off the top of my head being impressed with Quentin. I think he seemed like a really good guy a couple of times this episode. I'm never a huge fan of age gaps, especially when the woman's older, just for timeline issues. But that's up to them to figure out those details and if they can make it work. But I also agree that I just remember this date flowing well, and it did seem like a thoughtful, it didn't seem like a hodgepodge of people. They seemed like they were genuinely trying to get to know each other. The same with the Chris conversation and the arranged marriage. That seemed like a genuine kind of conversation about just that his parents, I think, were arranged and his parents' were arranged. So that was kind of an interesting background, and him trying to do his own thing and do something different. I thought that was interesting. So no big red flags I don't remember from this scene much. It just seemed like people were vibing and trying to get to know each other genuinely, and I think that was good.
And I would go back to the point with Chris. That is something that I would be looking forward to if he, continues to make it, every round in each episode. If there comes to a point where they're introducing, their parents, I'm really curious of how Chris, if he's going to, involve his family, because I'm assuming that he's really close with them in some way. How would they, react to who Chris will bring along, or who he chose as his top and possibly establish a relationship with? Is their family, going to be quick to judge? How is that going to work out? Because this is a different culture that we're talking about, and a different upbringing that not necessarily is, the norm here in America. So that is something I will look forward to if he does make it down the line, is the parenting episode when they involve family.
Yeah, from my observation between Quentin and Aries, I think it was a very mature exchange that they had at the party. I think the conversation was a mature conversation. I like Quentin's line of questioning. He had a similar question for, not similar, but he had a good question for Janelle when they had sat down. I think it kind of went kind of sexual in that question. When he asked, "What do you need in a relationship?" I thought that was a pretty solid question. And then he asked her, which is something that's so important as far as the differences of age, Aries, will that be an issue? And that's a good question, because that can sometimes be an issue. You don't want to be in a relationship, everything's going good, then when you do something wrong, your age is brought up. It's a question about, you being immature for your age. You don't want to have that conversation with your partner, So I think that's something that was smart to nip that in the bud. I think that Aries' response to the question by saying, you're a grown man, I'm a grown woman, it's not really answering the question, because he asked, have you ever been in a situation where you dated someone with this wide of an age gap? And she did not directly answer that question. Quentin offering to stay to help with the dishes was a man move, very mature move. If you're liking someone and you want to show them that you're interested, you want to continue to spend time with them. What that showed Aries is that, look, I'm into you. I like being around you. I'm not quite ready to leave you yet. I want to spend more time with you. I want to have some one-on-one time with you. And that was the perfect way to do it, by being a gentleman and offering to assist where necessary. So I like that. Also like Aries' response as far as Quinn goes, as far as seeing her again. She said, I'm going to wait on you. I'm going to wait on you to plan the date. I'm going to wait to hear from you again to see where things go next. Because she doesn't have to do the work at this point. You show interest in her, the man should move accordingly. So she let him know, if you really feel this way, I expect to see some action following. So I really like this, just like a really good, grown and sexy type of handshake that they had going on back and forth, which I could really appreciate. That's all.
Okay, I agree with you, Black. Him waiting around and cleaning up the house with her, that was great. I wrote that down. I'm gonna wait on you. And he said, yes, you will be seeing me again. I loved that. I like their interaction. A lot of people say, or I have heard that it's 10 years under, 10 years over, is still good, but if they're just dating, she's just trying to see, this is just the beginning. And I really do think that she's trying to just, let's see where this goes. I'm interested, but at the same time, is he, he's 10 years younger, but he's not obnoxious like Habiza. He's a man, right? But she also has 2 kids. So she's like, listen, I want to know if, and I don't think that he has kids. Does Quentin have kids? Y'all remind me of that. So
I don't think so.
No. That could be a conversation if they're getting serious. Right now, she's taking it as just dating and she's trying to get to know him. So she doesn't even have to have that conversation just yet. So I think I like the way this is going. I really like Aries, but I'm biased because she was on a previous show, Love on Stage. She's stage crew. But I'm hoping that this is going well. But at the same time, Quentin has a lot of other connections. So I'm also hoping that they have some other guys coming on that will give her that flirtatious attraction, but then also give her that good conversation that they had. I just got the fact that it seemed like there was some good chemistry there. So I'm hopeful for them, but at the same time, he still got some other connections. So if they're just dating and trying to get to know each other, this is fine. This is great. This is great. And I like that was a good move on his part and a great move on her part, what she said back to him. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I just want to talk real quickly about Chris and Jessica's conversation.
Before you go, I just want to add
go ahead, Sean.
On Aries. Yeah, this to me is it's more like Liz and Jason. And I know Liz and Jason, their age wasn't that far apart as Aries and Quentin is, but it's the difference. I think there, and a couple of people in the comments have said this, it's the difference in the stage of life, right? Now, perhaps if Quentin was had already had children and really didn't want children anymore, I don't see that. I see like he wants to have kids. So I don't think, and his answer was kind of in the lane of, I'm going to waste your time. And I think, unfortunately, and we just got to say it, like when a woman is in her 40s, we just don't want to waste her time. If you're unready to love, you're looking for something remotely serious, right? It's not like you're looking for a smash and dash, right? And a trip down to Pound Town. You're looking for something a little serious. So I just think it's better to just not even entertain it. I do see the chemistry together. But I see this like Quentin can potentially mold himself to kind of be what Aries needs. But really, are they a connection? And I don't think it's a genuine, long-term, ready-to-love connection. And that's just my thoughts. I like Aries too. She's very active on this channel. And I got to watch her on Love on Stage as well. But I think it's just best for her to be cordial. And I don't think she should be rude. I think how she's playing it is fine now because it is a dating show, right? And you don't want to start eliminating people and being rude. But if we're being serious, this ain't it. It just ain't it. And we've seen this go wrong so many times, right? Where it just looks all good and, the guy says all the right things and the woman, just kind of falls in line and it goes to hell in like two days. So I just want to be saved from this. And I think that there's some other men there that are a little more seasoned, probably have kids already. Everything that I know about Aries, I'm not really sure. The way she said, I might, if things go excellent, be willing to have kids. Yeah, no, that's don't even go there, right? You're gonna need every sun, moon, and star to align for that to even be a question. And so that's my thoughts on them.
So, yeah, I heard what you said about that. I think I'm feeling what you're saying, but I think it's still too early to tell with those two. You know what I'm saying? If it's a little bit more consistency, there might be a little bit of a pattern there, but I don't know. I don't know. But let me go back to to Chris and Jessica. That's what I want to start off with. Chris seems like he's a cool guy, you know. But the thing about Chris is that every time I hear him talk, he's talking about his background, his culture, you know, and that's cool. Nothing's wrong with that. But the lady's going to need more information about who Chris is as a person as well. You know, they're going to need a little bit of that in the mix. So that's what I've been hearing a lot from him. Jessica seems to be looking for a reason to like Chris more. She already liked him from when she first met him, but she's looking for additional reasons to like him more, not trying to find reasons to not like him, which I do like that she does. But that's pretty much all I have for those two, except for the fact Chris saying two twins. That's something that really bothers me. It's just me personally. It's a pair of twins. You know, you don't say two twins. So when he said it, threw me off. But yeah, but if he just give a little bit more of himself in the conversations, I think he'll go a lot further. If he doesn't, he gonna find himself on a chopping block real soon.
Cool stuff. Any other thoughts left, guys, before we shift it to our last epic battle?
Yeah, I agree with Corey on what's his name, the Nigerian guy, Chris. I said, why do they keep bringing this up? Like we got it. Are you preparing us for something? Like what's gonna happen when your parents come? I just felt like, okay, we got it. Yeah, what else is there about you? What else is behind the surface? So that's it.
All righty. All right, cool. Let's move on to the battle of battles on this show. This is a definition of 0 to 100, literally. But Janelle.
Oh, I'm sorry, Code. Did we talk about Lee and Quentin?
No, actually, thank you. Yeah, they actually are on my list. I apologize. Okay. Yes, you're right. Quentin Lee had a conversation. Yes, because she mentioned about the thigh gate. So yes. That was actually a real thing. Yes, Quentin Lee. If you remember that scene, she talked about her thigh and said, obviously, you know, I'm not sure in signing out. And the fact that she said, is he going to be comfortable with him? Is he going to be comfortable with her, and how men are going to be, loving her thighs? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because thick thighs saves lives, baby.
Hey,
okay,
every day,
every day, baby, every day, to this day. So, yeah, what's you guys' thoughts on Quentin and Lee's connection and their conversation as well?
Go ahead, Tyler.
I thought they were the cutest. They vibed, and I think that gym folks do better with other gym folks because they have similar schedules, lifestyles. I don't think you get as jealous when you're both in the gym. You guys are both trainers, stuff like that. I really was thinking when they were talking, I'm like, this would be a really cute couple. And although there's this, I don't know if I missed this, but the whole thing about, he didn't see anybody there for him. I think that was completely blown out of proportion, but whatever, we could get to that. But when he was with Lee, I could tell that he really liked her. Like they seemed like they were vibing. Now, why he's on the phone talking to other women for 2 hours and 3 hours, that I don't know. That's the only thing that gives me pause about him. He may just be, kind of all over the place. I know it's still early, but still, I like their conversation a lot, and they seem equally yoked, and they seem like they kind of had the understanding for each other's lifestyle.
I thought it was interesting that she wasn't really interested in going out with him at first because they both have the same career, a profession. And I actually agree with you that they did vibe. I did like their conversation at the dinner table, at the dinner. But I think that she's trepidatious about it because she's like, previously in my past relationships, men have gotten jealous or had issues with my profession. So whether they were both in the gym, whether they had the same profession or not the same profession, the fact that she asked him that, I said, "Oh, you've had issues with this in your past relationships," and that's why she was like, "I don't want to date another guy in the gym. I don't want to date another trainer or something like that because of any type of issues that may arise." So I like that she let her walls down. It seemed like she, let some walls down and she actually enjoyed herself. I said, I think that this might be good. And that's why I'm hoping that more guys come on for Aries, because I said, oh, see what I said? I said, oh, this might work, but she's still trepidatious about it. And I can't blame her. It sounds like she's had some issues in her past relationships because of what she does. Yeah, but I'm glad that she asked the question right off the bat, first meeting, will you have a problem with this? That's it.
Okay, so just true that she did say that she wasn't into guys who had the same career, but this is also an example of what I was saying earlier when it came to Tequilla. Like, some people give people chances where they should, and some people give chance where they shouldn't. She gave him a chance. She didn't completely write him off because they had the same career. And giving him a chance, she now sees that they have a bigger connection now. So I think that's an example that I would like to speak on. I want people to take away from this, that, if you're so set on what you want, what you don't want in a man or a woman, sometimes giving a little bit of leeway can open up a possibility that you didn't even know was there. And then that's a positive way. Of course, there's always two sides to a coin. But in this regard, you see it firsthand, because everyone can say this looks like a dope couple. It really does. I like her question as far as will he have a problem. I just think Quentin should have matched that energy. He should have been like, hey, I have women coming at me too. Will you have a problem? I think he missed the opportunity to do that. And the reason why I say this is because she needs to understand that the same thing you're concerned about him with, you're gonna be concerned about her with. So if the energy is matched in that way, then it's understanding that, hey, I get looks as well. Don't sleep on me. I understand you get looks at your legs, but hey, I'm a man. I do this too, all day, every day. So if you're given that type of energy, she would really accept that a little bit more, in my opinion. So that's all.
I kind of agree with you, Corey, but then I kind of say there's also another way to approach that. Like, sometimes with us, especially as men, I think we could go under the what's understood doesn't need to, we don't always have to state it, right? And I don't know that I think that Quentin answered it right or wrong. I don't have an opinion on that, but I don't know that should have been his response to her statement. Right. I know, I think Kojo, you talked a little bit about this earlier when you did your, kind of review. I would want to understand, what does she mean by that? I would want to know a little bit more. Like, are the posts that she's creating set up to attract clients, or is she enjoying the male attention that she's getting from the post? I would want to know a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about the post, or how do men usually react, and what kind of things are taking place? Because I would want to hear more about what's the behind the scenes, not necessarily, me getting attention or not, or going down that lane, but I would want to understand what's behind that and what's driving her to really let that be the first thing that she mentions, right? Because some women might have said, like, hey, listen, I work with a lot of male clients, and sometimes my previous relationships, the men don't feel comfortable because I deal with a lot of male clients. Now that's a different conversation. But she said, I'm getting likes on Instagram and about my thighs. So that's, to me, stating that I think if I don't know you, then I need to know more before I assume, because if I will start assuming, then I'm going to think you're doing part of this for the attention.
You know what, Sean? I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback on that because I agree with what you're saying. If he was the one to say it first, if he had to say it first, I'm like, bro, why are you even telling? Why are you even asking her this? Because we, like you said, what's understood don't need to be explained. But because she put it out there first, to match that energy is to say the same thing. Look, I don't want to be concerned with you about this, and like you don't want to be concerned with me about this. You know, she's putting him on notice. He puts her on notice that, hey, you're not the only one that can pull. You're not the only one that can get likes, comments. So I think just because of that, that's the only difference. Like if he started a conversation first, I'll be with you 100% saying, hey, why are you saying this, bro? Why? But it's an energy thing because she gave that energy first by saying, hey, I got men looking at me. Okay, so we know they are, but I got men looking at me. So you have a problem with that? Like she kind of putting it out there like that. So I think if she had matched it, she would not have felt that she was higher up on that pedestal that she could have possibly been on by saying that men look at her thighs. You know, so that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, I definitely did what you're saying, just a little twist to it.
So like if Lee said, how do you feel when people, you know, like on my thighs? And if he responded, how do you feel if woman was liking my biceps on Instagram? That would have kind of softened it up then, or would that have been a proper way to, I guess, address it? But
you know, yeah, but you know, it's really all about how it was explained. Just by the way she explained it, I think that's the energy he could have came back with. Now, if she had said it on some humble type stuff, like, you know, hey, you know, I had an issue with guys with the attention on Instagram. Is it a problem for you? That'll be one thing. But she actually pointed out body parts and stuff. So to me, it's like that's where it comes into play, you know. But yeah, it was all about how it's being communicated. So in that situation that you're saying, he probably would have to do that because it was a lighter flow than what she gave. But because the energy she gave was so strong to say, hey, this is me, this is what happens. And it didn't need to be said. So yeah.
I haven't looked at her page, but some of the folks in the comments are saying she don't have too many workout photos on her IG. It's more
it makes sense, right?
Showing her body, yada 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 yada.
Right.
I think she follows me.
So let's take a little peek. So hence why that question is so important. You know, because are we talking about training, or are we talking about, you know, you're an IG model, IG baddie? You know, what's the career?
Yeah, I do know that the confessional, whatever the lighting is, a confessional is not doing her justice. It's not a good lighting situation for the confessional, but she is. You know, I know Coach mentioned before, like, yes, he's on it, but I don't feel that way about Lito. I like Alexis though. Alexis looks, you know, like yeah, that'll be the one for me. But you know, I respect it.
It's called my second win, guys. And the page is there ain't nothing about workouts on this page, baby. Okay, I've seen one post in the last 20 that I've just seen. Okay, just gotta be honest with you.
You got the juice, Kojo. She following
you. Okay, right? But no,
let me see.
She does have a body. I think she has a second page. I think.
So she might have a business one.
No, she does. She has a second workout page directly for her fitness stuff. She posts her clients on there and stuff like that. So she directly has that as well. Then she has her personal page as well. So I guess that's, I mean, someone's a bit, god damn. But yeah, so yeah. So the question comes back down to, though, when you are saying you get attention for your thighs, which, let's be honest, of course, there's going to be a lot of that happening. What do you mean by that? And I think I go back to Sean's question. I would ask the question, what is it you're trying to say about that? Because, like I said, I'm not sure if you're trying to find out whether whether I'm going to be insecure about it, or whether you're trying to put me up on game to be like, I get this attention, so just to let you know. I'm not sure which way it's going, you know what I mean? So I think for me it's about asking that question, but I also see what you're saying as well, Black. You know what I mean? I think you're issuing a little bit of dark arts in there, you know what I mean? And you're saying it straight. Listen, hey, you gonna warn me about thighs, I'm gonna warn you about these arms. Like you kind of also you're also kind of letting that side be known as well. So I think I would ask the question. That's just how I'd ask the question and try to figure out what you're really trying to say. Because what I don't want to do is assume, because I can move mad as well. You know what I mean? I can do Latet real easy. And Red says 15, I'm gonna go to 35. So, I want to make sure that, I'm not jumping the gun before understanding where you're coming from. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So anyway, continue the conversation. It was good.
Yeah, I think his response was good though. I think he was like, "Hey, as long as I'm satisfying you, anything outside the bedroom, whatever case, I don't think you should use bedroom, but it's just satisfying you and everything. Then it shouldn't be a problem. I won't have anything to be worried about. So half decent answer."
Yeah, you just reminded me of that answer, and I'll.
Jesus.
Kind of like, really, bro? I mean, listen, I'm not on TV and I'm not having to answer questions on cue like that, so I get it. But I would think you would say something more like, I'm secure with myself, and as long as I know that we can trust each other, because satisfaction and cheating, is that really why women cheat most of the time? Probably not. Is that why women are looking for attention? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's a little more than that. So
he said in and out though.
Huh?
He said in and out.
He did say in and out, but it's like, why did he have to
I'm
mention
just
the
saying, like,
in and out,
I'm not going to hold myself accountable for your cheating. Like if you're doing things that are attention seeking, I'm not going to hold myself accountable for that, right? It's just like a man saying, a woman saying, "Oh, I'm going to take care of business." Y'all will call her a pick me if she said something like that. And a man was out here, talking about he gets attention from other women, and a woman says, "Well, I'm not concerned because I know what I do in and out of the bedroom." So I just feel like, you know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying it's the worst answer in the world, but for me, I'm not sure. It wouldn't be something I would say, and I'm definitely not holding myself for to be accountable for your actions, or saying like, if I do everything right, then she's not going to cheat on me. No, if you're a good person and you have integrity, then you ain't going to cheat on me.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, my behavior it can and it cannot have anything to do with you cheating on me, because I can be a great guy and you still find a way to cheat. So that doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things. So I agree with you on that, Sean.
Why did he say about sex though? I'm confused about why he made a comment about sex.
Yeah, that's the only part for me. Like, why did you even say in the bedroom part? Like, you already having those visuals of you guys being in the bedroom. Is that something like? Because I didn't understand why he had to say that part. Like Sean said, there was another way he could have said it.
Yeah, I think he's a little immature, if I had to, like, just slightly, because you think your SEX game, and I'm spelling it because we just want to be sensitive to demonetization.
True. I got to remember.
It's going to hold somebody to do something. Like, I don't think it's not that black and white, right? And I'm not saying, yes, should you be comfortable and confident in the things that you do and what you bring to the table into a relationship 100%. But I think the question she was asking him was more around, how comfortable are you with me getting attention from other men, right? Like, how does that make you feel? and then I could get a little deeper, right? I could get a little deeper into my confidence, and then I could, I want to know a little bit more from you. What are you doing? Are you advertising for brands? Are you doing brand deals? Are you, out here modeling clothes? Because that's different. If that's your profession, if that's what you are posting these pics of, and that men are able to see your body, but it is part of your business and you are a model, hey, I got a good thing I know up front, and then I could determine if that's something that I want to rock with. But they're taking care of you in and out of the bedroom.
That's not going to solve anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like this answer.
Of course.
I think just anybody from the Dallas cast who are watching this, we will be in Houston this season. Just to let you guys know. So
Kojo, don't give
be
them a
afraid to
heads
pop
up.
over.
They're gonna send.
Huh?
They're gonna send the dogs over. Oh, that's the quick trip. From
Feel
Dallas.
free to pop over to Houston. Okay. Feel free to pop over to Houston. Okay, we'll be there from the 4th to the 9th. Okay. Just pop over. Just pop over.
Who do you want to pop over?
Listen, there is too many of the beautiful ladies on that cast. Okay. All right. You know what I'm saying? There's too many of them. So but listen, Lee has my heart, man. That woman is fire. Now I'm hoping she's not as crazy. She's not crazy, because every time I'd be choosing someone, choosing someone from every season, and they give us the most toxic behavior I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm just hoping that Lee can keep it straight and narrow, and that this ain't gonna be a toxic one. Okay,
Lee's a good choice.
She's doing well.
That's a good choice, Kojo.
She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, really? She is.
Really?
But I like Kira too. Kira seems pretty cool to me.
Really?
Oh no, Kira's a beautiful woman.
The thing that ruined her for me was that comment she made about Quentin liking white women.
Yeah.
And then not only just saying that, but then saying, well, I'm the thing closest to white women in personality. Then I was off her at that moment. I just didn't like that comment.
Man, at least she's honest.
Gotta respect honesty, right?
I gotta respect honesty. Would you rather say it to we're pretending as if we don't say these things about each other, right? When you meet somebody and not be like, that person's a bounty. Bounty is a chocolate that we have in the UK. I don't know if you guys have it as well. We call people bounties here. You know what I mean? Like all their Maltese are like you black outside, but you white inside. And she's honest about the fact that she's a bounty, and I can work with that. If somebody's a bounty inside, I can work with that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're honest about who you are. Now, is it for me long term? No. But everything in this life is not a long-term contract. Sometimes something's a short-term, you know what I mean? Sometimes 12 months, sometimes 24, not every day, 48, not every day, 72 hours, 72-year contract. Sometimes it's just 24 months.
Yeah, it's a no for me, but I respect y'all.
Yeah, no, same here. I don't like it. To me, it's like, what is the black person that's closest to white? You know what I mean? Like, I just hate that narrative. I hate the narrative.
Does she mean because she's a cheerleader and she's like this, like flight? I don't know. I'm asking the question.
I mean, we all know why she said that. Most of us know exactly why she said that.
No, I understand the why. I don't like the pathology. I don't like
I agree.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe she's either leaning into what she want to be or what she's already is. I don't know which one it is.
Ooh.
But it's one of the two. And I ain't here to diagnose, as Sean would say, but it's one of the two. Either way, I don't see how she was getting that from Quentin though. Definitely didn't pick that up from him. So
that's actually what I want to get into. Is why would she and old girl say that? Like because he's a personal trainer or whatever, and that he has a lot of white clients.
I don't know.
Or because he probably is sleeping with white women. I don't care, but that doesn't mean.
Wait, first, wasn't it Tequila, matter of fact, that made that comment?
Yes.
And then Kyra piggybacked on it. He piggybacked, but Tequila was the one to introduce it, to be clear. And that's because he told her, he just nicely told her, I'm not attracted to you,
Right.
Pretty much.
He was being,
I don't understand how you wait. How do you guys hear this?
Game.
No, guys. I know. How's everybody hearing what he said? What he didn't say that. He said
He did.
says he's not feeling anyone here yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm saying.
But how are we extrapolating that to meaning that he meant her?
Well, because
Her
she asked him,
insecurity
"Are
to
you feeling anyone here?"
Yes.
As a way to get an
wanted to-
insight into
A feel,
if he's
yeah.
attracted to her. You think she cares about everybody else? No.
No.
That was her lightweight way of
Of
assessing.
course.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She wanted him to say, "Are you feeling me? Because I'm feeling you." And when he didn't, he's like, "But that was the first night. It looked like that was the
Right.
first night."
It was.
They were
Yeah.
So why
walking
can't you say you're feeling somebody? I
He-
don't get the
he
premise.
have a
I don't
chance to.
the understanding of why
Because
you can't just
if you
say
notice
I'm
about
feeling some
Quentin,
people.
we touched this on how he answers questions, right? Because I poked holes in a little bit of the way he answers questions. He doesn't always answer questions directly, just like Aris when she asked him, how does, about the whole thing with the age thing, and then he came back with the whatever, I just think that well, he asked Aris the question and then he kind of went on a tangent. Whatever I'm saying is, I don't think he's wanted to directly hurt her feelings and just say, I'm not that into you.
The only thing that threw me off, though,
Mm.
only thing that threw me off is that too many of the women agree simultaneously.
That's what
They all got on code,
Mm.
and although I didn't see it, I always have to leave room for the fact that when multiple women who ain't got a dog in the fight get on code about it, they must have seen something. I don't know yet, but we just gonna have to wait and see.
Well,
I feel like his answer was trying to let her down. I agree with Sean on that. And I also think even if he has dabbled in the bunny pond, that's still probably not the reason why he said what he said anyway about his attraction or his interest or lack thereof. But when they said that, they all agreed. So I don't know what they done seen on his page.
So
they saw something.
But we've definitely seen with Crystal. We've definitely seen many a time that the sister girl convention has gone awry, and they've jumped on the bandwagon a little too soon with not enough information and jumped on the wrong side of the train. So that to me is not enough for me to say, oh, okay, he don't like black women when he's on a show that targets black women, and I think one or two of the ladies said they didn't see that. So I don't know if it was every woman that said they agreed.
Yeah, Lee said she didn't see that.
Aries said I didn't see that. She said, I'm one of the most chocolate women in here.
Exactly.
And I didn't get that.
No.
So I just read it in the chat that the ladies saw him in a pic with his white clients. And so this is what Marvin said. And Marvin mentioned it, so they saw him in a picture with some white clients. And so they've jumped to this conclusion and then piggyback on the fact that he said, I'm not feeling anybody here. But I'm thinking he probably did say yet, or because the girl was upset that he wasn't feeling her, or I'm just not, he's trying to feel it out for the first night. And she got mad that he should have been like, oh, well, I'm feeling you. And he should have been, reciprocating that attraction, and he didn't. So now, he must like white women.
No, I think she just added to that. I think that she just blatantly added to it because of the conversation. The being let down or whatever. I don't even think she even saw the letdown. I don't think Tequilla catches on that fast, to be honest with you. I just don't think she has it in her. Oh. But I do think that she just wanted to be a part of that conversation, like what Seaway is saying, just to be in the mix. So yeah, I didn't buy that.
But I agree, though. I don't like that line of that whole thing with he dates white women, and then I'm the whitest woman in here, and or that's I'm most like that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was a no for me with Kira since the episode 1 with those boots on. I just wasn't a fan of those.
I think she can have her toes done. I think
those are clearly. Yeah, go ahead. I'm saying those are clearly from her cheerleading days. I can clearly see that because those are the boots that they wear, but that's just wasn't the right time to wear them in episode 1.
That's fair. Like I said, I'm gonna hold my reserve, my judgment. I'm not saying I'm gonna say on either side, but I'm definitely not ruling it out because I don't understand how you answer a question that way. It makes no sense to me. I'm not saying that he likes white girls. I'm just saying I can't rule anything out because I don't understand. If someone asks you who you're not feeling, are you feeling anybody here? It's not a deep feeling like are you on someone like bro? Like okay, this person's I think one or two people are pretty cool. That's it, done. But to say nobody here. There's a quiet like imagine you go to imagine you go to a mixer and someone asks you, are you feeling anybody here? And you say, I'm not feeling anybody here. Then the natural response will be like, okay, well, you're not liking anybody here then. That's what it means. You don't like anybody here. So you don't have to if you're talking about being vague, I have to look at you go, why are you being vague about your answers? There's nothing to hide here. There's nothing. We are all here for the same reason. We're here to connect with people. So just answer a question. You don't have to even say names. His answer's not even smart. So it's not even vague. It's not even smart. It's a simple, I'm feeling one or two people. If she decides to press the issue, you just say, hey, look, sorry, look, that's for me to know. That's for you. That's for me to hold out and you keep it pushing. But to say you're not feeling anybody, I'm gonna have to ask. That's why I said I'm gonna hold it out open. I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm not saying that he is liking white women. I'm saying I'm keeping myself open because that answer was not satisfactory for me. Now, even if the ladies hadn't said he liked white women, I would be questioning whether there's an issue in terms of him even being genuine. That's what from that response, my genuine thing would be deducting, is he being genuine? Because you're not feeling anybody at that point. And now it might have been before he spoke to Lee. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, the fact that the show actually showed that clip is also telling me something. Because they would not in all cases do they give a flashback of certain comments that people make. So the fact they showed that particular aspect tells me that maybe there's something in the pipeline that may be coming later on, because they don't always give evidence of someone saying something, especially as Tequila as well. The fact that they give Tequila the backing.
Do you have the clip? And I only ask because some people in the comments are saying that she asked about herself and then he answered vaguely. And I don't really remember enough to remember if she asked about everybody or did she ask about herself specifically? Because I think that would also add some clarity to the context.
You know,
I can't remember. I can't play it. I'll listen to it in the background for you guys because my internet be moving jaggy, so I don't want to mess up. Carry on. You can have the conversation. I'll look in the background and listen for you guys.
Yeah, the talks about him, dating white women or whatever. I think that we've all on this panel have seen enough seasons of Ready to Love to know that sometimes when one woman sees a man that they just do not like or something about him that they don't like, they try to spread it like wildfire to get him off because regardless if anyone else likes him, they're going to come up with something that's so horrifying, what they think is horrifying, for the other women to vote them off. And I think that's what was trying to be done with Quentin. I think it was a sabotage in a sense, because he's one of the coolest guys there, in my opinion, of the bunch that we have to see. So it's like how you have to dig deep to even think of something like this. And that could be offensive to a group of black women to tell them that one of the guys that are interested in, I think he dates white women. So that could be something that could turn them off. So it's all about what they say and how they say it. That's what I pay attention to.
I just watched it back. She said, "Are you feeling me?" He said, "I'm not feeling anybody here yet."
Oh, she heard.
I take it back.
She heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, you're right. He didn't even answer the question.
Yeah.
She said, "Are you feeling me?" I said, let me watch this back because I do. Yeah.
Wow.
I take back what I said.
Yeah.
That's a setup.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal. I think that adds a lot of clarity to it. And I think a couple of people in the audience are getting upset because I said that he's on a show looking to date women of color, and there's been many that have. I can be wrong. I mean, listen, I ain't finna be fighting with y'all about that. So look, I don't think that necessarily rules it out, but I do think that is, and that leads me to believe and err on his side until we know more. But if y'all gonna, spin around in a circle and get upset about it, then I'm not fighting about that, because that doesn't listen. I don't know what he does. I don't know him from a can of paint. I'm going by what we see.
Yeah, I listened to it. Yeah, so because she said that, I gotta change what I said, right? So I'm happy to retract what I said for the last 2-3 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? I was wrong. So because she said that, that changes my focus now on what her intention was. Now I think she added a bit. She added when she addressed it to the group, she added an extra part which wasn't shown in the clip, in the flashback. She adds and saying there's 10 bad in the place, whatever. You're not feeling anybody. Actually, she asked the question on the clip about herself, and then he replied to that by being general. So I think he saw a little setup, he avoided it, and said, listen, I'll make it general. So I take back what I said I didn't want, and I said, listen, that now means the focus is not about him. I focus now on Tequila, because why would you take his answer, which was you answering the question specifically about yourself, and then turning it, when he turns it general, then try to run with it to the group. I think he was trying to just avoid a situation, if I'm honest with you. Right? I
agree. Yeah, because she followed up with, there's 10 bad bees in here and you're not feeling not one of us. So I think it sounds like he was just trying to not even have the conversation with her.
But see, that goes back to what I was saying. For her to make that statement goes back to what I was saying about her finding out he wasn't into her. So now she doesn't like him and she don't want anyone to get him. So now I'm going to say, oh, you had all these 10 beautiful black queens in here and you didn't want to pick any. Now you're being extra. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying it spreads around. They have to get everyone to vote someone off. So they just can't be enough to say, hey, I'm not into Quentin. Quentin's not on my radar. She didn't do that. She spread that thing around to make sure that everyone has something to think about when it came to the decision of getting him off the show, because she didn't like what he said.
Fair point. Can't lie to you. Fair point. You know, Tequilla. Quanta la tuela.
As you would say, Coach, it's political, you know?
It is very political, you know what I mean? You know, I was on his ass, and now I'm on your ass, Tequilla. You know what I mean? That's not my place to be. But obviously, yeah. I mean, and that's a real thing, like you were saying, Black. You know what I mean? Like when someone is hurt, and then they do flip it in that particular way to make it that everyone has to hate that person. I mean, we saw it last season with Blake, didn't we? Right, we saw Blake last season. So yes, absolutely. You know, I definitely think we have to look a bit closer to Tequila in terms of the fact that that level of manipulation to bring it to the group in that particular way, unless they're going to release something else that happened, then that for me is manipulation. If you go to the group and drop the bar that way, very similar to Unique situation. Why are you running to the group to flip the story when you know that you know that that's not how it's being said? Exactly. You know, I'm gonna say it again. It's looking like the sisters for the last 2 seasons are looking very problematic, y'all. Listen, they be telling us these men are not good in the pool, but the women, y'all are pissing in the pool, as they say. Okay.
Thank you.
Just saying. I'm just saying. Yes. Listen, because they always cuss us men, but
men either, though.
It's looking bad. That's what the lady said. It's pissing the pool, but it's looking bad. Like, look, the last 2 seasons,
the women have been problematic. Men that they are giving us, though, too. I'm not saying that the women are catty and problematic. Yes, but you got one guy that just fresh off a divorce with 4 kids. You got another one, don't know, that has identity issues. And then one guy who's got short man issues. Like, come on, it's just the caliber of men as well.
Short man issues.
DJ
with the hair right here.
You talking about Red? Who's saying that short man is cute?
Red?
Where you at? We covered it at the beginning of the show.
The thing is that when the problem in the show is that with the women.
What? I just asked a question. What I do?
What happened? The
because
reason
Tyler
why I
was saying
agree.
Sean. I wanted to understand who she was talking about.
I agree with what Kojo was saying as far as like the women on the show, because just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean that every other woman shouldn't like them too. And that's the mindset of the women on the show. Is that okay? I don't like Quentin, I don't like Red, so you guys shouldn't like them either. Because that's how Unique presented it, and that's how Tequilla presented it. So it's all about killing them off the show, pretty much. And that's what's causing damage. If you find someone else like someone that you don't like, you don't got to put them under the bus. Just say, okay, they're not for me, and then move on.
I hear you. You know what I mean? I hear you. You know, someone said they're sick of us calling the women manipulative, but not the men.
Man, they don't like us saying that negative about women. I tell you.
Dom, you got a dungeon full of
nothing negative about women.
You got women got a dungeon full of whips and chains. You got another one who's got a identity issue.
Crystal.
But technically, wait. Okay, wait. Technically, though, he's not good for the. Let's say, for instance, like he has Dungeons and Dragons in this thing, right? Which obviously I'm not in agreement with, right? I don't want to see Dungeons and Dragons, okay? But that doesn't necessarily make him the worst person. Not even worse. A bad choice, right? It's not necessarily a bad choice in this regard, because his character's not off. Now, his job type you might not like, but it's got nothing to do with his character. It's got nothing to do with his behavior per se. Now, you know what I mean? Maybe Red's a bit more sassy. Okay, we can talk about Red being a bit sassy, and we can throw him in there. He's a little bit sassy in there. You know, he got some sass on him. So I can work with that. You know, but in terms of the character, it's only his job that is a problem with Marvin. I think that we can all agree that his job could potentially be a problem. Brandon had 4 kids, but it's with one woman.
True.
And I'm willing to smoke any guy. I don't think he should be on the show anyway, because he had 6 months. The fact that he had 6 months with the divorce tells me he should never be on that show. So that for me was him being. He should have been counseled. He should have been on the show. So that one I'll send him to the gallows for you guys. No problem.
Okay, fresh off a divorce. I actually think and then he got divorced and remarried the girl. I actually thought that was. I don't think that was bad at all. Like he tried.
I didn't think that was bad either.
Yeah, but. Okay, you got a dungeon full, and somebody's gonna love this man. So he's for somebody, sure, but connecting him with the caliber of women that you have, that you're just here to bring drama. Again, he even said I had plenty of other conversations with them, but they focused on that, and then everybody was like, "It's a no for me. It's a no for me. It's a no for me." You're immediately turning these women off if that's all you're talking about, if that's all they're concentrating on what he's talking about. And then you got Habiza, don't know what he wants. Well, no, we know what he wants. He just
Habib is a problem. I can't lie to you. That one we can't defend
honestly him. I feel like I picked 3 out of 8 right now. So they need to just throw 5 away and rebook.
Hold on, there's some issues on the women's side too. There's some women on it. There's some issues on the women's side too.
There's issues all the way around.
I said this earlier. I agree. That was embarrassing. Oh, girls should not do. She was like, "I'm really for the streets." What for this idiot? You really? Come on. So I got smoke for the ladies too, but I only see maybe 3. That's it.
Damn.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there's definitely issues all the way around.
Yeah, for real.
Everywhere, up and down.
Every season on this show, you can tell exactly why these people are single. To be honest with you, if you look at it hard enough, you can really see.
Last 2 have been really bad. I can't even lie to you. On both sides. Okay, cool. Let's go to the last part. Let's go to the last part. Obviously, I think we've solved the Quentin issue. Well, I hope anyway. But apparently, someone said that on her interview. She said that he likes Latina women. So the jury's still out. But anyway, listen. So she better back that claim. She's going to be said on the interview. She better back that claim.
Sean, they're coming for you.
Sure, man. He got his shooters ready. They posted up. So let's talk about the end scene. Janelle and Tequila beef towards the end. One thing I have to say now that Tequila's making these comments about Quentin, I have to question whether she's a colorist herself, because there's a hyper focus on color. Just saying that if you're talking about Quentin and he likes this particular, I'm not saying she's wrong. She could absolutely be right, but all I'm saying is there's a hyper focus from her, because she also mentioned about the fact that Janelle, only reason why the guys like her is because she's light skinned. Now, hopefully, I mean, I'm saying for her sake, I hope there's evidence, because at least when we had last season, or was it no, not last season, a few seasons back with that beef that happened between Aisha and I can't remember her name now.
Zadia.
Oh,
Zadia
yeah.
and what's that other lady's name? I always forget her name.
Camille.
There was actually some kind of conversation that were happening that was kind of spoken of in terms of
the brown skin girl squad or something, whatever.
Absolutely,
I remember that. Yeah.
So there has to be some. If she's not, then there's some. There's some there. Yes, I'm using the term colorism incorrectly because I understand, just like racism, it can't go both ways because it's a power dynamic. I understand that. But what I mean in that sense of the matter is that when someone's got a hyper focus where they are also discriminatory against other people, especially those of a lighter skin tone, because you can be that. Just because you're dark skin doesn't mean that you can't be discriminatory or even prejudiced in your biases and how you treat people and how you see the world. She's got a hyper focus on that. So the question is she really seeing what she's seeing and there is evidence for it, or is this what her perception is? But anyway, I just want to put that out there because I think that is a real conversation to have maybe a little bit later on, as well. So, but Janelle and obviously and Tequila had a beef. And so, we'll have a conversation about that. What was you guys' thoughts on that beef, and how it started and how it got to where it got to? You know what I mean? It was a mad thing out there.
I mean, I think some of the folks on here already pointed out that I think maybe Janelle has been doing little stuff on the side that's probably been poking at her. I think some of the stuff I actually missed, so people brought it up that I really didn't pay attention to. But I think I already said it. I just think that whole disagreement was extremely embarrassing. It kind of popped up out of nowhere. And that type of exchange over anybody or anything that early in the game is just unnecessary. They really had nothing to be arguing about. And that was just a very unfortunate exchange. I will say and that's all I really have to say on that. I know she's embarrassed. I know she's embarrassed. But as to the colorism thing, that was definitely a Nick Young meme moment that came out of complete left field. We're talking about 2 shades difference, 2-3 shades different. It was just the silliest thing that didn't seem like it had any backing. It was very, very odd. I think, Kojo, to your point, if you're talking about 2-3 shades, that means that you're so color struck that you actually have the problem yourself. Because I will say one thing, you can say whatever you want about Ready to Love, but Ready to Love and the colorism I have never seen for the most part. Like, it seems like people of all shades, colors get love on Ready to Love. No pun intended. So I don't know what she was talking about, but that was really, really weird. And I think that also goes into her insecurity. I think she's insecure about a lot of different things when it comes to herself. And maybe that's just one of them, because I don't know what she was perceiving or where she got that from.
I think from that discussion too, it was also a reaction from Tequila that a lot of the ladies that had their experience with Habibi, it wasn't so pleasant. So the fact that pretty much Habibi was one of her only picks is now possibly in the position of being eliminated again or in an elimination block. That could be, another feel of how she reacted and, just siding with him because apparently there's some things that, they said about him or such, but, yeah, it just wasn't a good look overall, and especially in a nice environment like that too. Like you don't want to bring up any beef in that comfortable furniture and everything. Like yeah. Oh.
Yep. Welcome back, Jay.
Hey. I'll sit there and say that first, let me say, because on my channel, I had thought Tequilla had started it because of her confessional comment by highlighting Janelle's name. But then I realized when I look back at it, it was a confessional comment. So it didn't start necessarily from there. I agree with Seaway. I really do think Janelle has been poking people and she got fed up. And she kind of mentioned something to that degree is that you're going to only take so much before you get fed up. So Janelle has been doing little undercut things to the lady, saying little slick things. And we've seen it ourselves. She even said it there. That's their top or whatever. Just say me, because that's my top. Like, don't dare me or whatever. Direct me if you're going to direct it, or if you're going to say something to me, be very direct. And so she didn't do that. So that's annoying as well, is when people, people are talking about you, but they want to sit here and be passive aggressive with it. Don't do that. Just go ahead and say what you got to say. And so, yeah, I don't agree with her snapping, especially, because it makes it seem like it's over Habibi a little bit, but it's really because this girl keeps picking at her. But then I don't know how she got to snapping on everybody else as well on her way out. I don't know where that came from, and I don't know where the colorist thing came from. That was like really out of left field. Like, says she ain't even the lightest one in the room. Okay. So she's not even my color. Like, what are we talking about right now? So they just like her because she's light skinned, like lighter than they like her because of her personality. Calm down. Like, I didn't know where that was coming from or whatnot. I appreciate her for coming back and calming herself down, but yeah, she was acting like she was what's that girl name? What's my girl from College Hill? What's the one that be snapping on everybody that just got arrested? Sean, I know you know. Jocelyn. She was giving me Jocelyn energy. Yeah, she was definitely giving me Jocelyn energy up in that daggone moment, because I was like, girl, is you high or something? What is happening right now? You going through the whole lineup like everybody can get it. You can get it too. Like, what? Tommy was like, I don't want none. I'm sitting over here minding my business. Leave me alone. So I just did not understand. It was just like really deep-rooted issues there. And I'm like, girl, did somebody pick on you from high school and now everybody is in here on your shit list? Like, what is happening right now? So I think she need to go home. Like she said, if y'all send her Habibi home, send her home too, so she can go ahead and lick her wounds and heal herself a bit.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there is blame for both of them. Enough blame to be passed around between both of them, Janelle and Tequilla. I don't think that it started off being necessarily about Habibi, but it ended up being about him when she yelled out, "If you let Habibi go, send me home." So that she kind of brought him into it with that statement. But one thing that I do want to point out that Tequilla did that you just don't do within the community, you don't stand up. When you stand up, that says something. That says, oh, you want to throw hands for real. That's why Janelle's response was like that. Oh, you standing up? Because right now we were just exchanging words. Now, when you stand up, you get yourself liable for what's going to happen next. So you don't stand up, you don't follow behind. You just certain rules that's known that you don't do. And when she stood up, all bets were off. So now we're not only talking, we're talking about fight now. So Jessica, I think it was Jessica who was looking at her, but she was just looking at her, and she said, "You can get it too." And Jessica was like, "Huh? What?" Like she was confused herself. So yes, she was out of sorts. She was just really out of sorts. So I want to give my note here with just saying who I think is going to be eliminated next. I think Tequila is going to go home. There's no big surprise, but I think the next man to go home will be Marie. I think Marvin and Marie are going to be the last two at the bottom, and Marie is going to be the one to go home. That's my prediction.
That trigger came from down deep. That wasn't just about I definitely think that Janelle has been throwing some jabs, but when she started going, yeah, they're top, and then she said, it's how you've been, it's the energy you give him. And I think that she saw that everybody was saying Habiza, like they were saying Habibi, but I ain't calling him Habibi. everybody was letting him have it, and she was getting sick of it because they were their only two connections. They were each other's connections, and she was getting sick of it. And she was saying, well, it's the energy you give him. So even if a man gives me, or even if I give a man negative energy, that don't allow him to say, oh, well, next time you turn around, I'm gonna, suck on you, on you. So I was like, no, that's not okay. The way he's been talking is reckless, and it's not okay. And he needs to correct that. So he needed to go. But the fact that she stood up, and even I feel like, what's her name, Janelle, even gave her a way out and said, oh, you're standing up, like, don't do this. You need to pull back. And then she said, I'm really about that life. I said, girl, you are not even here right now. You need to stop. Because one thing I do know about these reality show contracts, they have said, do not fight. Do not put your hands on somebody or you're immediately out the door. So when she went to another place, I said, this is a different trigger. She's triggered by something else that's going on. I am glad that she corrected herself. She cleaned herself up, and I definitely think that she regretted it. But fighting for Habibi, I think that she was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I need to conduct myself like a lady. And when she was saying, and then the light skin comment, as Seaway said, you're only a couple shades. She's only a couple shades lighter than you. I said, I think that's all you had. That's all you had to fight with. So you just wanted to. They were going back and forth. The jabs kept going, and that's what she threw at her. So yeah, I definitely think she's next on the chopping block, if not next week or the week after, because if she does this again, it's not going to be okay. It's not a good look. So yeah, I just felt like Siwa said, just sad. Like, come on, ladies. We got to do better. Yeah, that's it.
That's another thing too. You just reminded me, Crystal, that comment didn't even make sense. Like, that's the energy you're giving. Like, oh, I'm giving him talk to me crazy energy. That didn't even make sense. I was like, how did that equate in your mind? He has a fair right to say what he said to me because of whatever energy. I don't care that my tatas are out for the world to see. Don't run up on me and say some crazy stuff like that to me and not make me feel some type of way. But I do say that in the moment they had their group date and they was all sitting there, I feel like Janelle should have addressed that then. And that right there or whatever. She should have said there, because when she's dressed it later like this, it makes it seem like she's making it up, even though he does really feel like the type of person who would say some off the wall stuff like that. It does come off like you was holding it to make up whatever story that you want to make up later about what he said.
I agree. She shouldn't have waited. She should have at least said it to the production or somebody, because to say it in the deliberation room was way too long. Because now you've got a couple of days, a couple of group dates. You could have said something before now he's in your face with the bowling alley. I definitely think that was too long. But I agree when she said a man. So I was like, wait, a man has license to speak to me any kind of way because I gave him a certain type of energy, which I'm sure she did. She probably did just turn around. She's a thick girl. So no.
No, I mean, if the energy, like if she was giving negative energy and he was saying some effed up stuff like, you ain't ish or this, that'd have been different. Like if he was like giving the same energy in response, but you're giving sexual energy to me, not giving you any energy or giving you negative energy. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
It makes no sense to me either. Yeah, that trigger came from somewhere else. She was like, I'm really about this life. I was like, girl, what are you doing? It's Habib. It's Habiza. He ain't gonna forget about you next week.
Habiza.
Yeah, they've been calling him Habiza all the whole lot. I'm like, who is Habiza?
His mama call him Travis. I'm gonna call him Travis. Like
Travis.
But you know what? I don't know how they do these things because I'm really tired of all these off-camera situations happening because I can't Some of them I just be like, I want to take you for real, but then at the same time, because this is a competition game show, and if I don't like you, I can easily just say, oh, this person said this, that, and the third to me, did this, that, and the third to me. And when we're not addressing them people as grown adults, it's like, you know, when he said we didn't have no conversation, and she said, no, we had some conversation, I would have told you exactly what you said. You said this, blah, blah, blah to me. So you don't feel like that was conversation? Like you wasn't talking to me when you said it? Please let me know. Address this to me now. Yeah. While we on camera. Because now when we off camera, you want to feel froggy and tell me whatever you want to say on your mind. But when we on camera, let's address it. Come on. Like, don't play.
Do you think that's why Tequila had set up that group date? Because it kind of seemed like she wanted to put that together in a way when Janelle came and then asked, so Janelle, like, you know, who are your connections? Who are you feeling? And then Kira, she was kind of like co-signing a little bit, like, you know, just waiting for the answer. So I guess maybe behind the scenes, Habibi and Tequila talked about it or so.
That would still be weird though. Like,
yeah,
to me, that would be weird. I wouldn't put it past her because she's different like that, but that would be weird. I can't see myself having a man come up to me and say, oh, I said this about wanting to be all up on some other woman's boobs, and me saying, okay, well, let's set up a date to see if she gonna mention it. I would actually be the one that mentioned it. Like, did you actually tell her this? Like, I would probably be like, is this for real? Like, did he do this to you?
Right.
That's weird. I don't know. I know Janelle is not giving like girls or nothing like that by her attitude, but still at the same time, like, as much stuff that's been coming out of his mouth, I would not put what she said past. I would actually investigate. I'd be more like, oh, girl from the season with Shiloh and Phil, like, let me just ask him about it. Let me see what's going on or whatever. Since he's being so honest about everything else, let me see if he gonna tell me up front, this is what he actually did. I don't know. That's weird.
Any thoughts, boys? No? Okay. Siwa, you have any thoughts? Any other thoughts on this?
No.
Cordially. All righty then. Okay. Unless do you want to discuss the fact that who left? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think do we need to unless you want to discuss why they left? I don't think that's necessary. I guess I didn't watch the end of the episode because I didn't even know who left. I think I fell asleep last night.
Habibi left, and it was all as soon as Uncle Tommy and Nephew Tommy heard that. As soon as Uncle Tommy, what's his name, Nephew Tommy heard that what Habiza said, he was like, "That's ridiculous," and you're out. Like he said, and I think that he had a hand in it. We can't keep him around another week because they would. I think that they probably would have let Red go, because they said he was boring. That's it.
Oh. Yeah, a lot of ladies.
Who did the dismissal? Because Habibi went out with Sierra, and then Red went out with
Kira.
Okay.
Now talk about an identity switch.
She looked great.
Yes.
She looked great, but I like it takes. I don't know. I was looking at it from a modeling aspect, and I was like, it takes away from her face features, the long hair, and I like it with the short hair actually, because then you see her face and all her features, and it's really her features are really pretty to me.
Right. I love the blonde, but I mean, it's totally different. I was like, except for the lips. I was like, she actually reminded me of old girl Sabrina, the Puerto Rican girl from last season. Was it last season? Miami. Was it? What's her name?
Puerto Rican girl.
Was she Dominican?
I was like,
the girl from Miami.
Who?
No.
I thought her name was Sabrina, but what's her name? Charlena? Therese, yes. She reminded me.
Crystal.
I said she was Puerto Rican. What is she? She's. I'm asking.
I think she's just. I think
just like Sierra said, I'm black. I'm not. black.
You're blackly black.
Not too bad.
Anyway. Anyway, she reminded me of her, except for certain features. But yeah, I like the blonde though. But I did love the wig though. She totally different.
What you was about to say, Kojo, before you fell off?
I don't know because I was falling asleep. I wanted to make it. I tried to make it up, but I was falling asleep, guys. So I have no clue what I was saying. No, I was gonna say no. I was gonna say something. Yes, I was gonna say I didn't like her hair long. Can't lie to you. I didn't like it. Literally transformed before my eyes. Tommy was confused. I was confused. I thought it was a whole different woman.
Even Habib was
I
confused.
did too. I thought it was a whole. I was like, who is
so
this?
confused. I was so confused. I prefer her with the short hair. I think she looks amazing. She looks stunning with her short hair. I think it really does create a really beautiful look for her. I don't like the hair. Maybe this just wasn't the right wig, but yeah, I think her. Like I said, I mean, and again, I'm biased. I love women with short hair, so you know the fact that she had her hair short like that, beautiful for me. But yeah, I didn't recognize her with the long hair at all. Yeah, I didn't recognize her at all. But it'd be like that. All right, listen, because
Sierra, if you're out there, I loved you both ways.
Sean said, "Switch it up so I can feel like I'm cheating."
Exactly. We'll be in Houston. We'll be in Houston. You can find your way from Dallas to Houston. Whether you wear short or long, it don't matter.
So Sean, you like Sarah?
I just find her attractive. I haven't seen enough to know, full, but I liked it both ways. I was with, Seaway like that. For her to switch it up and still look really good, I liked it. But I get it. Everybody has preferences, but I like the long hair.
It's not bad on her. It's just that I feel like the shorter accentuates her features a lot more. Like you focus in on her face a lot more. It doesn't. The long hair, you lose her. You loses all of her in there.
That's what I feel.
So
yeah, I agree with that part. I see you putting your hat in the ring, Sean. I love that. Tyler, who's your hat in the ring for? If you're allowed to say, you might be in a ratio. I don't want to throw you in the ring like that, bro. But you can say no comment if you're between a rock and a hard place, sir.
It's looking like no comment.
Will look like
no comment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all beautiful.
Oh my God!
Here we go.
Okay, Quentin. Okay, Quentin. All right, Quentin.
Here we
It's a no comment for me.
Here he go with the cap, the same cap Quentin got going on.
I gave a Quentin answer.
Lee is good in my book too. Now, I'm not trying to say one over the other. Lee got a lot to her that's good. So I'm not mad at Lee.
Lee's fine.
Nah, Lee's not on my list. At least not on my list.
What?
But Aries definitely is. Aries
is
a smile, man. It's amazing.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh
no,
yeah.
Don't be saying okay now, Tyler. You ain't saying nothing.
What?
You don't get to say anything, sir. You didn't answer the question.
This is her what to when Black said Lee's not on the list. He said what?
I'm taking it personal. I'm putting cases on all y'all.
Lee's a list of one for me. It's just Lee. I ain't no man, but that's
not the list of one.
It's the list of one.
You see her. I saw without
one
the
on
makeup.
one.
She's one of one.
Without the makeup is a no for me.
It was a no.
Confessional kill.
Aries,
yeah,
but Aries is fine. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like I know her a little bit because we've interacted with her on the channel. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sharp one too.
Yeah.
Interacted with who?
Aries.
Oh, really?
She's been here several times.
Aries WW.
She's been on the panel. She's in the comments. Yeah.
Man, let me know when she come back. I'm
I'm
gonna show you how to do
She's good people.
Aries WW.
She's really good people.
I like Herbert and Phil. Which one is Chris?
Oh wait,
Who, Crystal? I don't know who you talking about. Which one's Herbert?
Chris, you
Herbert's
ruled him
the
out very
dreadlocks guy.
early.
I'm not even
Seaway.
big on dreadlocks. But Herbert, I was like, look, he's kind of a cool guy, laid back guy.
Chris in his kingdom. That's Chris, right?
Chris in his kingdom.
Chris
Oh,
That's
in his
Phil.
kingdom.
That's Phil.
No, that's not Herbert,
Phil.
is it?
That's Phil.
no, I saw. And then
Phil.
Herbert
Okay, so
is-
that's Phil.
Yep. Yep.
and get
Isn't there like
Herbert,
this?
guys.
Who's the guy that looks like the basketball player?
They
from
don't have the
last
cast photos online, so I don't know who's who. I didn't see it.
year? Nope.
Bruh, they move him mad online. I don't know what it is. I don't think I have Herbert on here. Why?
I think
haven't
he
uploaded
he
Herbert
looks
to
just
that.
like Phil, but he has locks.
Yeah, I don't know
Oh.
why I haven't got his picture.
Mhm.
What's the chunky one's name?
With the
I'm
S
not
curl,
answering that
I
question.
think that's Maurice or something.
Yeah.
Moriori.
Marioria.
Maurier.
Moriarty.
There you go.
Maurier.
Marioria.
He keeps saying S girl, and I'm like, who is this man with this S girl?
Girl.
He got a little S girl at the top.
Hey, why is Habibi looking like Tory Lanez?
Oh,
He does actually. I never said that.
He look like
He
Tory
do
Lanez. That
look like
picture.
Daystar. I was trying to figure out who he looked like. He does look like him.
So,
Let me just.
Well, I
let me
like
just
Mo-
admire
I
this
like
picture
Mari.
one time.
Is that Lee?
so that's a
Lee's
no for you.
pretty.
That's a no for
That's
you,
me
Corey.
right there.
Man, that's airbrush. And look,
mm,
when they put that camera on her without that makeup, it's
Corey,
just a
don't do
whole-
it.
Hey, that's my preference.
Don't go there.
It's my
Don't go
I'm gonna
there.
speak with my preference.
Corey,
I respect everybody else, but
Corey,
me,
you tweaking.
in that moment, it was a no-go for me.
You tweaking.
It's a
Don't do
no-go. Now with her airbrush and touch and everything, yeah, her airbrush is touched up. I mean, it's
come on, Black.
the rawness of alcohol. It's a no-go.
Come on home, Black.
Come on,
Come on home,
Rawness of
Black.
Land the
alcohol.
plane, land the plane.
Come on home,
Ready to
Black.
love, ready to love.
Not y'all,
Passport
not
back
y'all
revoked.
trying to drown him out.
I can't. Listen. I can't understand. I can't
It's y'all
understand why
drowning him out
men
for
say men will call a woman beautiful based
Who's
on
this?
body alone.
Who's that?
That's just
That's unique.
Oh,
unique.
Oh no, that's unique. Yeah, that's unique.
Yeah.
That's a
She
nice
kind of
picture
favors
of her.
Jessica. Those two favor to me. I don't know.
Yeah, they do
No.
kinda
Can you
look
put up
like that.
Jessica and Aries? I'm getting confused. I don't remember any of these people. I
Aries
remember-
has the beautiful locks. The,
That's Leanna.
what do they call those locks that y'all get?
He says,
Where's
got the
her-
sister.
I
that
That's
love
loves
Jessica.
her.
Jessica.
That's
That
Jessica.
are like the twist.
She looks
Who's
better
that?
in video than she does in a photo. I
Yeah,
can't lie
she
to you,
looks.
photos
Jessica
do
looks better
justice.
on camera.
Hey man, thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Vaughn.
That's Aries.
This Aries. I think Aries also looks better on camera than
On
she does
camera,
with
yeah.
photos. So
Yes,
you know what I mean.
yes.
So yeah, Aries is a very beautiful woman. Very beautiful.
Yeah, she
Voluptuous, curvy. Just
Maurier is
yeah.
the one that's father died, and he couldn't stop talking about
Yeah.
his father.
Oh,
Yeah, he comforted Tequila.
And I'm gonna need y'all to
Roots.
leave Mario alone. That's
right?
a y'all wanted a
Tyra.
good man. That's a good man, Savannah.
I don't
That's a
think
good
he's
man.
not a bad
That's
guy.
a good
Yeah,
man.
she got on my nerves. She got on my
He's
nerves.
a nice guy, but
good
A
man.
little comment ruined it for me.
That's a good man, Savannah.
Good man.
Wait, what
That's
comment?
a good man.
What did you
It's a
say?
good man.
Good man.
There he is.
Good
There
man.
goes Curly.
There he is.
That's you, Crystal.
Curly
That's
Maury.
you.
No,
That's
I
you,
said
Crystal.
Herbert.
Come on,
And-
Crystal.
Oh, okay.
And,
Come on,
I can't
Deacon.
even remember the
Come
other
on,
guy I
Deacon.
said.
Got
Who's the
arm-
other guy that reminded me of the basketball player from last season? Who's the other skinny guy?
Who? Brandon? He gone home.
Oh, that's Brandon. Oh, okay. Yeah, Brandon needed to go. Yeah.
I told you about
Herbert
Brandon
and
already.
Phil.
That guy's
Herbert and
dangerous.
Phil.
Good man.
Brandon was
Good
fine.
man.
Brandon was gorgeous.
Brandon died like the people in the black movies. You know, the fine one always died first, so they
First
kicked him
to
out
go.
first.
Whoa.
First to go.
They always do that to the black ones in the,
I
the
swear, I
black
don't.
ones in the movie. You
No,
know,
y'all saying first to go.
they do. They be like offering the fine ones up. I
Now,
don't
this
think
is-
they got
is
enough
this
money to pay them.
Tequila?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
Tequila.
killer.
Can't lie to you, you know. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got a little bit of toxicity. She's kind of sexy. I can't lie to you. Just gonna say it. Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
A lot of all these women are beautiful. I ain't gonna hold y'all. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even drink, but I don't mind getting intoxicated a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tequila.
Oh.
Okay.
Kojo, I don't know what your type is all over the place.
They
You ain't
did
got
two
one.
black people did die in the blackness.
His type is every type.
His type is confusing.
Every type of
His type
chocolate
is
that just look good.
the lady
If you
part.
just looking
And
good.
His type is the lady parts.
That's it. He just
At
bouncing,
this point-
I just love black women. I just
The clapping
cute,
below.
beautiful
Like
black
a
women.
little-
Oh.
The queen.
I don't know how sexy clapping. I
Queens.
don't know if I want. I don't want them
Queens.
clapping for me.
Well, that's what
Ah.
Sierra said. The clapping
Huh?
below.
Jay, maybe they can drip a little for me, but I don't want them to clap. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa. Oh.
They can drip a little bit.
I don't know what's going on there.
Clap.
It's the after
They
dark.
do a little
Bring it on in, Sean. Bring it on
know,
in.
You can drip a little bit, but I don't need to clap. I can do the clapping. I can do the clapping, you know?
Bring it in, Sean. Bring it on in.
Come on.
Land
son.
that plane, sir.
I
You are
can clap
encountering
for you,
turbulence.
you know?
You circle it back, huh? You circle it back, huh?
Turbulence.
Tommy,
Listen, Kojo, you
That
know?
autopilot on, sir. You're
You
doing
want to
manual.
get you
Getting
got
a
your
bit
button down to your
Right,
navel,
right.
you know. So I'm just talk reckless.
I done set the tone for tonight, boy.
You set the tone with your button loose down to the navel. I'm just gonna talk
And
that.
the baby oil. And the baby
I'm
oil.
getting
Got
ready
all
for
his
America.
baby oil
hanging out. Got all his
I'm
chest
getting ready for
It's
America.
the baby oil. Glistening water all over
Glistening.
your ball.
Oh,
Exactly, you know,
Listen, hey, I was
get that wet,
today,
you know.
boy. I'm ready.
Remember you
Don't mind
came
the
up
wet,
with
wet.
Sean,
Spring water.
Sean,
spring water.
I need you to say pause after that. That was a pause moment, please.
Nobody
What was the
heard
pause
it
moment?
anyway but you. Nobody
You
heard
said
it but you,
Kojo got
T-Way.
that wet. You need a pause.
No, I didn't say that. What are you talking about?
Ooh.
We are high on life.
Sean,
All right,
Sean.
that's it. Live over. Live over. That's it.
You're done.
Cut. That's it. We're done.
Bring it
Lock
on.
That's it.
T-Way
I-
up.
You ain't know how to
Lock
close
T-Way
the
up.
show.
He is
Come
removed.
on now. Bring it on home.
He is removed. I rebuke you. There is no
Ejected.
Little black
You're
book.
done.
Like, comment,
Ejected.
subscribe.
Hey,
You are
hey,
done.
hey.
You ain't know how
Are
to
you
close
kidding
our
me?
That was
show,
worth
don't
it.
she?
That was worth it,
Did
Sean. You
anybody
did what
hear
you're
him
supposed to
say
do.
that?
You did what
I
you're supposed to
Am I
do.
the only one that heard that?
Yes, you're
I
the
didn't hear
only
it.
one that heard that.
Yes.
I definitely heard that. Okay.
Yeah, you heard Rainbow howling in the wind. Because
Because I was like, dang, is nobody gonna say pause the F? I heard that.
I said Kojo has his shirt button down to his navel. That's what I said.
Nah, I heard
I'm
wet,
going to
wet.
talk dirty, and then I said I'll take wet over a clap. That's what I said.
It's not sounding good still.
No, Kojo.
Seaway over there falling asleep in the conversation.
Don't even add to
Notification
it.
bell.
Over there.
Okay, the folks in the comments said they heard it too, so we just all gonna leave it alone.
They did not say
They said they heard him say navel.
They said I heard it. They said I heard
this,
navel.
This is how stuff gets. This is how stuff gets started.
Here we
Nobody
go.
said they heard
Blowing
that.
out
Well,
force.
Seaway also heard all the ladies in the chat agree with the quitting thing, so we gonna leave her alone. Okay, she just be here.
That's what I told you to land that plane. So I told you to land that goddamn plane. He was out here flying in turbulence. That's what you get.
They did say I need to stop.
Now we all got to put our
wet.
seatbelts on because Sean's doing something mad.
Not just saying it's a no
Please
judgment
take your
zone.
seats, everybody.
This is no
Just
judgment.
put our
No.
seatbelts on.
Now Winter
That's what
Rome
Sean
is
was
putting up
saying.
rainbows in the chat.
We support you, Sean.
Tell Winter Rome you about to get blocked. Okay,
It's Little Black Book 91.
you
Like,
about to get
subscribe.
blocked.
Oh, they done turned on you.
That's how
They
dare
done
start
turned on
dropping
you.
See how quickly the tides
They done
turn.
turned on you.
Join the membership.
And all I can do
Close
is
your
take
shirt. Close your
Seaway.
shirt, Kojo.
They said we gonna love you for
They get on
you.
me.
I can stand in my truth, right? I can
They
stand.
told you to
Steady
stand
your
your truth, Sean.
Steady your
That's
Be strong and stand in it.
That's it.
That's when the healing begins. That's
Yes.
when the
That's when the
Let
healing
the
begins.
healing begin.
Oh, gracious. All right,
That
guys.
is hilarious.
We go.
Y'all wrong.
we go. Audience, we gonna go. Okay, but before we do, Sean's got to do a benediction. Sean, the benediction. I don't even know if I should ask you anymore.
Set up
What?
I don't know if you're allowed to even give benediction after what you've been saying.
right. You didn't pass the offering. Pass the mic.
I think I need to pass my I need to pass my rights today because I have been dethroned. You know.
You're good, sir. Well, we trust you. We trust you. We trust you, sir.
We trust
no
me.
judgment
All
in this
right.
house,
So we're gonna give it a good old college try. So listen, folks. I think what we learned is all is not fair in love and war. You know. So pick your sides wisely. And I think ultimately what we shouldn't be doing is fighting for love, right? We shouldn't be fighting for our lives for love. We should be fighting to get to know each other, our true selves, and making sure we are aligning ourselves with the right people that we're going to grow in love with, right? And whatever that means, whether it means being celibate or abstinent or neither of the two, make sure you're aligned with the person that you're with and that the reasons that you're making the choices are for your better good and for the betterment of the relationship. And ultimately, don't add, don't subtract, just look to be your authentic self in all forms of who you are. Back to you, Coach.
Love that, man. Listen, audience, thank you so much for joining us. We came out 600 strong for this, and I appreciate you. It was a good time, and we chopped it up. Had fun. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've probably slept a few times on the live, but thank God for my amazing co-hosts. Yeah, Jay, I was asleep a couple of times. Thank you to my amazing co-hosts who held it down whilst I slept. Black, Jay, Seaway, Crystal, Tyler, Sean. JR was here earlier on as well. Tyler's good to have you back on here as well. Black's good to have you back here as well. Crystal, good to see you again. Good to see my fellow panelists, Jay, Sean, and Seaway as well. We'll be back, I guess, tomorrow. Tomorrow night. I do want to discuss that tomorrow night. I've been seeing this Adam 22 thing going around, yeah, and we need to have a serious conversation about pimping your wife out, because this to me is pimping your wife out. Okay, all right. No matter how he wants to say it, I think we need to have a serious conversation. This generation is going.
I said that, Kojo, and people argue with me. I said that.
I don't know how else you can look at it if you're pimping your wife out, like, you know what I mean. But we'll talk about behind the scenes anyway.
How are you going to have a monetized conversation about Adam 22?
It won't be monetized.
Oh,
it will be monetized. Yeah,
and I think it should be after dark.
Members conversation.
It's definitely after dark.
It'll probably have to be members conversation. Yeah, it'll probably have to be a members conversation. In fact, great suggestion, guys. Listen, audience, if you want to join that conversation, we're talking about obviously Adam 2022, Adam 22. Whether it's pimping your wife out or not, then please do join the members as well. It'll be a members only and Patreon only conversation. We'll have that. So we'll have a good old conversation. Some of the comments I'm seeing is mad already. So if you haven't joined the membership, you won't be a part of that conversation. If you're part of the Patreon, fantastic, you can join as well. But members only live. Okay. All right. So if you haven't done so already, go on to the chat right now. You can click on the money sign and you can join the members. It's £1 or it's a $1. I've made it cheap so everyone can join. It's not about crazy. So make sure you join in that members talk again Tuesday night as well. All right, audience. We will see you. Yeah. But before I do, I've got to read super chats. My bad. I apologize. I've got super chats. 2 super chats here. Tyra's World said earlier on, she said, but you can be honest and still manipulative, with a little bit of a cheeky smile. I love it. And then Phil, who always is a good old sport as well. We appreciate you, Phil, coming with an honest word and honest coin as well. I think it is wrong to make the situation about Red and his looks. Janelle showed bad behavior. All her mask came off and true colors showed. So yeah, that's a major thing there. So appreciate you, Phil, as well, contributing. Audience members, thank you so much. It's been amazing. Again, my panelists, thank you once more for coming through. If you remember, I said again, we will be in America. It's not going to be a show. I'm just going to be in America. Okay, I'm going to be living life. I'm just going to be honest with the truth. Okay, so 24th to the 28th, I'll be in the ATL, and then on the 4th to the 28th to the 4th, I'll be in Houston. I tell a lie. 28th to the 4th, I'll be in DC. And then the 4th to the 9th, I will be in Houston. But I'll put up on the community page so you guys can see the dates. But listen, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you and let you know out here. Okay, Habibi, I want to let you know. All right. Miss Anyala has spoken. And she said, it's not on my watch.
You're on mute.